1. Lust at first glance. Carter. Wait up. I saw a familiar-looking girl coming towards me. What was her name? Brenda? Bailey? I knew it started with a B. Hey, what's up? I gave the somewhat nameless woman a nod, still walking towards the parking lot. It's Bess. In case you forgot, we met at Russo's hot tub party a couple months back. I heard you're throwing a party tonight. Can my gals and I come along? The dirty blonde with blue-green eyes and an easy smile asked with an annoying giggle. Bess, of course, didn't I spend the night making out with her? Yeah, it's cool. It starts at 10. It should be posted online. I quickly glanced at her, but when I saw that she looked like she wanted to say more, I cut her off. Listen, I gotta go. I'll see you tonight. Okay. It's nice to see you again. Bess waved at me. I barely nodded in her direction before rushing towards my truck. Turning on the engine and the air conditioning, I leaned against the headrest and shut my lids, trying to calm myself. Today I had woken up with a heavy emptiness inside. Maybe it was from the heavy back-to-back partying on a daily basis for the last few months. Top that with soccer, and I guess I could only pin it down as fatigue. It had been happening a lot lately. Feeling that way wasn't something I dwelled on, but when I did, like right now, I wanted to smash something. Taking my phone out of my pocket, I called my sister. After the first ring, she instantly picked up. Hey. Releasing a small sigh, I started talking. How's your day going? Thought I should just call and say hello. I'm good. You okay, big bro? You sound off. I'm tired, but I'm good. Haven't seen you around. Where have you been? Okay, the last time I saw Lindsay was what? 2 days ago? I always called my sister when I felt down, even though she wasn't the easiest kind of person to deal with, but listening to her voice helped. Maybe you should think about taking a night off from partying? Also, get your head checked. Oh, and while you're at it, why don't you get a full physical exam? Hanging out with the likes of Cece might have contaminated you big time. Cece was Lindsay's former best friend, one who would follow me everywhere and would do anything I asked of her. Your main issue is with Cece. Don't bring that on me. Besides, you don't like a lot of women outside of Amber and Trista anyway. That's not true. I'm super close with my roommate, Emma. Oh, I might bring her around tonight. You have to make a promise that you won't hit on her, yeah? She's a good friend, and I want it to stay that way. Emma's a good girl, not like the rest of us. Damaged and packed with issues, that's what she meant. Why do you automatically think that I would? Heck, I don't just come up to every woman I meet, Lindsay. For all I know, she might even be ugly. So we're good. Trust me, big bro. I know you. This is why I'm issuing a warning. I didn't know why she was making a big deal out of it. It wasn't like I had bad hang-ups when it came to dating. I just wasn't interested in long-term. Short-terms I did perfectly well. Usually it was a month or two in an exclusive relationship, though past that, it got difficult. Women, they always fall in love quickly, and I didn't need to tangle myself in some stupid feeling that was merely a sweeter way of being in lust. Love was lust. I think the society made it sound all gushy because it would be accepted, but I didn't buy the bull. If you stripped all the chocolates, flowers, butterflies, and the sweet words, then all you're left with was lust. Sex. Why cover it with romance and the fake notions of love? The party was at 10, but at 9:30 the house was almost packed. I lived on the shore, and it was a prime location for parties. My best friends, Brody and Cooper, roomed with me as well. So the parties were usually hosted by us, and since no one had a girlfriend, we were always chased around by women. Parties usually got me going, and around this time, I should be about on my 5th beer, but I wasn't even tempted tonight. When I strolled over to the deck, I could see Brody attempting to avoid women who were trying to convince him to join the tub. Looking at his face, it was obvious that he wasn't interested, but the girls? Man, they could be so relentless. They didn't care how many times a man said no. They thought when a man declined an offer that we were playing hard to get. Fuck, what's so hard to understand with I'm not interested? If a man wanted you, he'd do everything in his power to be with you. That was it. There were no ifs and maybes. If a guy wanted you, he'd tell you. If he didn't, he'd tell you. It was easy, right? Baby, here you are. Someone tugged me and immediately clung onto my neck before releasing me. You've been ignoring my calls, Carter. Sarah pouted, trying to look sad, sultry and cute at the same time. Did she know that most women use that trick? Shaking my head, I played it cool and managed to put on an easy smile, even though I didn't want to. I've been busy with practice and playing the field. I know. When are you going to play on my field? I've been on the waiting list for far too long. Sarah leaned over and whispered in my ear, if you have a special preference, I'm pretty open about everything, and I mean everything. Okay, my sex life was pretty much school gossip. It had always been like that, so I wasn't even bothered about it. It was old news that I liked menage when I felt like it, but lately the offers had been constant. Frankly, for the first time, I was getting sick of women who were throwing themselves at me, always easy to please. What happened to regular females? I was momentarily distracted when I saw Trista and Amber laughing at some joke they shared. Party in the hose. Amber screamed at the people on my living room turned dance floor for the night. I smirked at the sight of my sister's crazy friends. Seeing familiar faces that I'd grown up with definitely made me feel much better. My sister just got here. I'll speak to you later. I gave Sarah a light squeeze on her arm before walking away. Sarah was hot, but she wasn't doing it for me. No one had been on my radar lately. Well, I guess after that ugly breakup with Heather 5 days ago, it was understandable that I'd been staying away from females. I was already edgy when she confessed that she was in love with me 3 weeks ago, but what really pissed me off was when she started to demand that I should ask my friends to leave my house so that she could move in with me. A little less than a minute later, I told her to get the fuck out. No one tells me what to do. Brody's been my best man since before I even started to crawl as a baby. Heather thought just because she was spreading her legs for me that she could demand crap. She should have known better. I was walking towards my sister and her friends when I instantly paused. My eyes were glued to the woman who was smiling at something Lindsay was telling her. My heart skipped a beat. There was something about those eyes and that combination of the right amount of shyness and sexiness in her smile that got to me. All of a sudden I became nervous, which was rare. Women never made me feel nervous. What the hell was going on? I almost growled when Lindsay directed them towards where I was standing, stuck in time, wondering what the fuck was happening with my brain and body. This is my big bother I was telling you about. Lindsay gently tapped my shoulder before introducing us. Emma, my roommate, and this is my brother Carter. Hey Linz. Got a minute? Got to show you something, Cooper interrupted us. It was all hazy, but basically Lindsay left with him while I merely stayed rooted to the spot, blinking and studying the gorgeous woman before me. The redness on her cheeks deepened when she noticed that I was just being an idiot. Carter, fucking think with your brain for a second, will you? My brain finally kicked me out of my shady haze. Welcome to my home. Can I get you something to drink? Emma shot me a quick glance before blushing delightfully. Sure. Grinning, I glanced at her. Let me guess, you're not a beer kind of girl, huh? Emma shook her head, trying to hide her smile. No, not really. Not if I can help it. Red, full-bodied, potent with just a tinge of berries? I asked. I couldn't hold back the excitement in my voice as I placed my hands in my pockets. Her blue eyes glittered, her face radiant. My kind. How'd you guess? I just know these things. Come on, I'll show you and you can pick whatever you want. I nodded towards where we're going. I lead her to the basement and keyed my passcode before entering it, then took her inside to the place we had set up for poker nights, which we did once in a while. It's right over here. I gestured towards the far corner that had a wall-to-wall compressed temperature fridge. Opening it, I ushered her inside. Go take your pick. My eyes trained on her, watching in fascination as to how her face suddenly lit up. Biting her lip, I saw her eyes rove over the labels and the expanse of my wine collection. When her top teeth released it, I fought back the urge to see how those lips tasted against mine. She chose a vintage French. Is this okay? Emma was blushing. I was crazy lusting after this woman, who I had barely met 15 minutes ago. Crazy didn't even cover it, but fuck, she looked delicious. You can have whatever you want, Emma. Myself included, if you ask right out, I silently told her with my eyes as I penetrated those baby blues. We exited the cellar and headed towards the bar on the side, close to the card tables. I opened the bottle and poured her a glass. Emma seemed nervous as she looked around. I even caught her staring at me before looking away with a blush on her cheeks. She was gorgeous, and I couldn't hold back eyeing her from head to toe as I moved around the bar and stood close to her. Handing her the ruby-filled glass, I felt another surge of wanting to kiss her. Your boyfriend's okay that you party without him? She took a small sip, looking at me before she placed the glass down. It's excellent wine, thank you. To answer your question, my boyfriend and I broke up a few months back. Thank God. Because either way, she wasn't leaving my house without a kiss from me, I was sure of that. Openly staring at her as she savored her drink, I wasn't even abashed at my blatant interest in her. When she gazed at me through her lashes, I was almost sure I made a small growl before closing the gap between us. Can I take you out tomorrow night? I whispered against her. Her heartbeat was vibrating against my chest. The heat from her breasts was toying with my body. She wanted me. Her body gave her away easily. Wow, you work fast. Her plump puckers made a big O, which didn't help the uncomfortable state of my groin. I've done this so many times, but for a second, I contemplated if I should go with my usual lines. Shaking my head as if not understanding the need to change my tactic, I went ahead. When I want something, I go for it, and I want you in my bed, Emma. Her blue depths widened, almost like saucers at my frankness. That's all you're after, sex? That and then some. It's all I can give you. I don't do any of the hearts and butterflies shit, Em. I don't do love or the happily ever after shit either, but I can definitely satisfy you. I murmured, my eyes lingered on her cleavage before making their way back to her face. Think about it. She bit her lip before releasing it, making it look scarlet red from the new fusion of blood. I've heard about you, and I actually saw you 2 weeks ago with your girlfriend. Are you even single right now, Carter? Heather was long gone. I am, Emma. Why? What have you heard? I lightly inquired, piqued, hoping my past wouldn't hinder her decision. She cleared her throat and took another lengthy sip of her wine without breaking eye contact. She then licked her lips before placing the wine glass on the granite countertop delicately. Your sister told me to stay away from you. Shit, Lindsay. Way to go, cock blocker. Are you going to? I asked cautiously. It really would piss me off if she took Lindsay's advice. I had never been this interested in a woman since, well, ever. I'm still deciding. Emma murmured, eyes dropping to my chest, to my thighs and then staying on my lips. Fuck, she was so beautiful, and she was attracted to me, yet was contemplating doing something about it. For years, I had been used to women coming onto me, making the first move, and for me to take the initiative first was a novelty I liked very much. Inching my torso closer, I pressed against her as my gaze lingered on her face, and then slowly caressed every contour with admiration. Do you need any help? I asked, my nose almost touching her cheek, referring to her indecision. No, not really," she managed to croak out before I sealed my lips against her sweet-scented throat, right where her pulse was jackhammering madly. My pants were getting beyond uncomfortable from my aroused manhood. Emma had definitely reawakened my insatiable libido. I let out a groan when I felt her body soften against mine, almost giving in. "Let me take you out tomorrow, and you can tell me your answer then," I said, voice filled with passion. I didn't want to scare her away, but fuck, I hadn't been this horny in a long time. I tried to tell my body that Emma needed to think, even if it was only for a day, as my lips slowly kissed around her ears and my overeager finger traced the outline of her neck, noting how her breathing hitched. "Does that sound good, Emma?" She released a small moan, just enough for me to lose my shit and kiss her with a growl while pushing her against the bar. Fuck, the way she whimpered against me, writhing against my dick, made me want to feel if she was wet in between her thighs. Emma tasted sweet and her soft moans were testing me, pushing my control because I wanted to take her now up against the bar, on it, off it, nothing mattered. "Carter," she breathed out, clutching onto my shirt as I pushed my heart on against her hot pussy. "Tomorrow." Fuck. Tomorrow? Not right now? I wanted to ask, but told myself to stop being such a horny bastard. Okay, so no sex, but that didn't stop me from kissing her all night long. Hours after Emma left, I was in bed, staring into the dark with a grin on my face. True enough, I was counting down the hours until I got to see her again. I felt like a teenager going on my first date again. I had to brush my teeth twice and felt like I was about to burst with energy. I had an hour to kill, so I strode towards the deck, staring out at the ocean, telling myself to take it easy. It was only dinner with a girl. Yeah, a girl who I wanted to lick all over on sight, I thought with a smirk. Yo bro. You coming with us to get some dinner before we head out to Russo's? Brody asked behind me. Shaking my head, I called out. Nah. I'm going to take someone out tonight. I'll meet you guys there. If you say so. Later, man. Brody threw me a careless wave before I heard the front door being slammed. After dinner, I was going to take her to the party. Together. I wanted to let everyone know that I was with someone, and also to blatantly announce to the rest of the guys that they needed to back off. It didn't take a genius to guess that she might have men asking her out. Emma was stunning, beautiful, and had the right amount of innocence in her, not something common around here. Damn straight, I was staking my claim. Pushing myself off the rails, I decided to leave the house and head straight to see Emma. If she wasn't ready, then I could wait. Whatever reason I could come up with simply so I could see her, right now. In less than 10 minutes, I was jumping out of my Cadillac SUV and headed towards Lindsay and Emma's dorm. I heaved out a long breath before knocking on the door. My breath literally stopped when I saw her again. The short sky blue dress was glued to her body like a second skin, and boy did that leave little to change my ready-to-eat-you-on-the-spot state. Emma's face brightened at the sight of me. Hey. You're early. She was holding the phone up, covering it. She noticed as my eyes flickered towards the phone, then whispered, I'll be ready in a minute. Let me just finish this, is that okay? Nodding, I told her I was just going to wait outside until she was ready. Walking back towards my SUV, I leaned against it as I checked my text messages. Bess. Cece. Monica. Ash. Leah. Sandra. Heather. That got my interest. Heather, are you still mad at me? I said I was sorry, baby. I miss you. Call me whenever you're lonely. I'll be waiting. Not going to happen, Heather, I muttered under my breath about the same time that I heard the sound of heels coming towards me. Emma, strutting with her hips swaying, seriously caught me off guard for a good minute. I shifted my pants so she wouldn't notice the bulge that was becoming more uncomfortable by the second. Sorry, I hope you weren't waiting long. I wasn't. Are you ready to go? I asked, acting as though I wasn't jumping like a little kid inside. Yep, I am. 5 minutes later, I had just realized that I'd forgotten that my phone was attached to my Bluetooth. It was really distracting when I had to keep rejecting every time it rang. Sorry, give me a second. I pulled my phone out of my pocket when it slipped out of my hand and slid into the small gap next to the seat in the compartment. Shit. I'll get it, give me a sec, Emma offered, leaning over as she reached lower into the tiny gap. I wasn't thinking straight when my gaze flickered towards her. Her breasts were a lick away, and I swear my mouth watered from the aroma of how delicious they smelled. Gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles were white and drained of any blood, I heard her gleefully exclaim that she had found it. Here you go. She handed me my phone before I muttered my thanks. I was so absorbed in trying to think of things other than Emma that when I suddenly felt her hand on my arm, almost caressing it, I was caught off guard. Sorry, did I miss something? I distractedly asked, my dick growing every second her arm lingered on my skin. I was asking where we're going for dinner. Why are you so distracted, Carter? Is something bothering you? Yeah. I cleared my throat before shifting on my seat. Something's bothering me, I guess. Want to share it? Could I? Would she run away if I tell her that I want to stop at the nearest spot and have her ride me? Fuck, I cursed inwardly as the images I conjured up flashed in my head. I want you. You did tell me last night, remember? I did, but what I meant was I want you right now. I emphasized the need for clarity. Oh. Exactly. The light had just turned red, and the growing stretch of silence as the time ticked by made me uneasy. How long will it take you to drive back to your place? Emma glanced at me, eyes bright with mischief. Was she teasing me? I groaned, smiling even though I was frustrated. She was cute and pretty, but when she turned into this sultry woman, I didn't know how long I could hold off before taking her. Haha, I'm not laughing. I'm not either. I wasn't joking, Mason. I swallowed, my mouth suddenly very dry. You mean, you're okay to be with me after everything I told you? Okay, the excitement got into my head so I had to pull over and gather my wits, before I spun to face her with seriousness. You know, once we step into my home, I'm going to take you in my room, Emma. There won't be any going back and rethinking it once you get there. Those big blue eyes glittered in the dusk, studying me with scrutiny. I know. I've never done this kind of thing before, but I want to have fun. I'm only in college once, so why the heck not? I didn't even respond to that because I was gunning the engine to get back to my place as quickly as I could. Fuck traffic. My SUV was barely on the driveway before I cut the engine, jumped out, opened Emma's door, pulled her out, and carried her inside my house while she squealed on my shoulders. Carter. Hastily opening my door, I strode towards my bed, and carefully placed her in the middle while I was on my knees, looking over the beautiful scene before me. The sunset that filtered through my open balcony made her look even more breathtaking. It made her skin glow almost like gold. I couldn't rein in my desires any longer. I took her lips and kissed her like I was kissing her for the first time, with impassioned thoroughness. She was hot as she kissed me with eagerness, reaching out behind my neck as she pulled me more firmly against her lips. I placed my body on top of hers while I used my knee to part her gorgeous legs so I could have better access to her body. Carter, she moaned when I placed my hardness against her soaked pussy. Are we allowed to see other people, or are we exclusive? She breathed out, still kissing me. I'd never shared my women before, and I wasn't going to start now, especially not now. You bet your sweet ass we're exclusive, Emma. Wait. She panted out, eyes closed. I might disappoint you in sex. Fuck. Are you a virgin? She gave me a small shake of her head. No, but I've only been with one man, and we weren't really experimental. I wasn't the kind of guy that cared about how many men a woman had slept with. I mean, come on, I had lost count with my number, but what Emma had told me made me a very happy man. I don't see that as a problem. In fact, I like that a lot. You sure? Hell yes. I maneuvered my lips around her neck while my hands cupped her ass cheeks, slowly rubbing my body against her core. I feel like you've shot me, Emma. You stung me with your poison and you're my only cure, I groaned out as I roughly pushed the fabric against her creamy breasts down, placing it underneath her luscious orbs, accentuating them abundantly for my taking. Dear God! Emma shrilled when my teeth found her pebbled nipple. With both of my hands, I manipulated her breasts, squeezing them as I pushed them against each other before snaking out my tongue, licking her nipples that were close together. You're, she moaned, reaching out and clasping her fingers in my hair, nails digging into my scalp. I'm what? I looked at her before biting her other nipple until it was in the same state as the previous. You're very rough. Are you always like this? I smiled before I lowered myself in between her thighs, pushing the hem of her dress upwards until she was fully exposed to me. My cock was on fire, and I had to ground my hips on the mattress to try to soothe it. I wanted to savor Emma like a good vintage wine where you sip it slowly, enjoying each burst of flavor in your mouth, letting your palate get used to the taste of excellence. Because that's what Emma was, prime excellence. Planting butterfly kisses on both of her inner thighs, I then bit into her skin before soothing it with my tongue. I love it rough, hard, so hard that you will only feel me pounding against you, working in and out of you until we're both fucked out. Her flesh-colored mesh thong was drenched from her wetness. I groaned when I stuck my tongue out and tasted her through the tiny strip of cloth. Delicious. I bit the heart of her clit, pulling the mesh cloth in between my teeth, testing its resistance before I pulled it harder, ripping it. Emma stilled when she heard it rip, half sitting on her elbows as she watched me in befuddlement as I used my fingers to tear it wider, all while watching her back. I continued to rip the fabric until the soft material hung loosely aside, exposing her slick cunny, all for my pleasure. Not breaking our eye contact, my tongue explored her silken folds, flicking her sensitive button before sliding it down to her entrance. Is this turning you on? Her wet lips parted before telling me that it did turn her on. She looked so aroused as she watched me taste her that I couldn't help parting from her dripping folds and launching myself against her body, kissing her. All inhibition and control were gone the second she opened those lips of hers, kissing me back, as she tasted her essence on my tongue. I cursed when her hands reached inside my shirt, rubbing me everywhere before she tried to pull it off my body. I was kissing her, grinding her mound with my jeans as I successfully pulled my shirt off. Hands on her butt, I securely cupped it before rolling her over, switching positions. Her lips were imprisoned with mine as I massaged her supple, well-toned cheeks while running my fingers along her crack, all the way down to her hot channel. One hand gripped her cheeks to widen them while the other teased her vaginal entrance. She was moving her hips, silently begging me to touch her, when I stuck a finger in and she cried out my name. Her muscles were gripping my finger, knowing quite well that her orgasm was building up, peaking, ready to awash her body, but I stopped it and pulled my finger out. Not yet, baby. I want your orgasm around my dick. I need to feel you that way. Damn it, Carter, she muttered, rolling us again until she was on her back, hands unfastening my jeans in haste, pushing them down with her feet whilst kissing me. Her hands took care of my boxers next until they reached my knees before those eager hands finally found my hard length, and I moaned as she stroked it. Breaking our kiss, I panted against her face, body in knots with anticipation. Guide me inside you, I grunted out, rolling my hips until the tip of my shaft brushed against her entrance, coating it with her essence. Emma stroked me a few more times before pressing it inside her. The mushroom head of my shaft squeezed into her halfway before it slid back out. She was going to try again, but I halted her because I wanted to last longer, and if she kept going, there was no chance in hell that I would. Pulling back from my elbows, I planted both of my palms against the sides of her head, studying her face as I slowly slid my cock inside her channel. I stopped a quarter in, pulled away until the base of my head was in her entrance, then slid it back into her wet channel, inching deeper into her. Shit. Hell. Fucking shit. You feel incredible, Emma. She opened her legs wider, showing me more of her beauty before I completely lost control, taking her hard until we were both spent, coming together in each other's arms. "Baby, your phone's been ringing like crazy," I spoke against her hair, not wanting to part from her warm body. Emma mumbled something unintelligible before drifting back to sleep. Shit, it was ringing for the 4th time now. Should I get it? It might be something important since the caller was calling non-stop. Leaning over as I reached out for her phone, I checked who it was. Louis. Was he her brother? Emma's phone. I sleepily answered the call. Silence greeted me, then came a sound of him clearing his throat before speaking. "Can you please hand the phone over to Emma? She's sleeping, but if it's really important, I could wake her up. If not, I could take a message and relay it to her when she wakes." "Who are you?" Louis asked, not in a disrespectful tone, but with apparent curiosity. I was sure he was dying to know. This dude was an ex of hers, I'd bet my ass on it. "I'm Emma's boyfriend, Carter." Guess I was now, I thought with a smile. Seriously, I liked saying that a lot though. "Tell her to call me back." "Thanks." He hurriedly cut the call, without giving me a chance to say another word. Jealous ex. Too bad, buddy, she's mine now. Sighing, I went back and wrapped my arms around her, slightly slinging my leg over hers. "Definitely mine, Louis." It was Tuesday, and I was sitting in class with my mind not on what the professor was spewing, but on the amazing weekend I had with the woman who hadn't left my mind ever since I had seen her that first night. I hadn't seen Emma for 12 hours, but I was already counting down the time until I could see her again. Not able to hold myself back any longer, I decided to send out a text. "Me, just saying hi. What are you up to?" "Emma, just got out from working on the pole." "What's up, Carter?" "Pole. Like a stripping pole." "Well, what other poles were there?" "Me, you strip?" "Emma, I'm not sure where you're going with that, but just so we're clear, I'm not a stripper. Pole as in workout in the studio. Not at the local strip joint." Fuck on both counts. Fucking thank you for clearing that up, and another fuck for giving me images that shouldn't be in my head during class. "Me, you're not being nice, Em. I'm in class and I'm thinking naughty thoughts." "Emma, sounds like the usual you. Stop fantasizing, Mason." "Me, want to make it my reality? I have 15 more minutes in class than I'm free." "Emma, be here in 30, not a second more." "Me, you bet." My eyes kept flicking on the black and white industrial wall clock, counting down until it was time to leave. I blew out a whistle when the teacher released us from class. I was the first person out the door, rushing out to get to the parking lot. Fishing my keys out, I heard Lindsay behind me, stopping me in my tracks. "Guess someone had a great weekend, huh?" I spun around and faced her. She was raising her brow, arms folded, eyes glaring at me. "Spill it, Lindsay," I said with exasperation. I needed to get to Emma's, not stand here out in the sun and get decked out by my sister's condescending rants. "I told you not to mess with her. In a month, you're just going to dump her for the next new ass you want to screw. She's my fucking roommate. She's nice, we get along, and I really like being friends with her. She's not like Cece or some other hoe you've been with. Emma just got out of a 4-year relationship. She doesn't need a man like you, who doesn't take a woman's feelings seriously." My sister was a passionate person, most especially when it came to her friends. She was very protective of them, and had always told me to back off, and I had. However, when her best friend Cece went inside my bedroom at 5 in the morning naked, looking for sex, I caved in. I was 17 at the time. With my hormones and a naked woman on my bed, only a man would understand the difficulty of rejecting a naked, willing woman. I tried not to let her words hurt me. She meant well and only wanted to look out for Emma. I guess I couldn't blame Lindsay for acting that way. My record with women was truly despicable, and I wasn't about to make excuses for it. I know she's not like Cece, Linz. I paused, opening my door and shoving my stuff on the next seat. You never heard me say this, but Emma's different, okay? Her raised brow became furrowed. Now you got my attention. Don't stop now, keep talking. I really like her. After I spend a weekend with a woman, I don't sit in class and think about what happened, but I did with Emma. I was having a hard time trying not to expose myself too much, but I also wanted her to understand that this time, it was different. I would like it if you could back me up and not bitch me out. I've never asked before, but I'm asking you now. Those puppy brown eyes scrutinized me, pondering what I had just told her. When she let out a heavy sigh, I knew she knew I meant business. I'm not going to lie, I love that you found someone like Emma. I think she could even be perfect for you, just as long as you don't fuck it up, Carter. I'll support you, but the second you shit on that support, I'll even set her up with men to move on from the likes of you. You're my brother and I love you, but you're a whore. My sister was not one to mince her words. She merely says it like it is. Thanks, Linz. I'm off to your place to see her. One more thing, don't you guys dare do the nasty on the couch. Keep it all in her room. Nodding with a grin, I pulled out my phone and called Emma. I'll try to remember, I responded to my sister. You better, she threw back before walking away. Damn it, but I love my sister, bitchiness and all, I thought with amusement, before I heard the woman who made my blood rush to my head at the sound of her voice. Emma picked up after the third ring. Hey. On my way to you. I didn't want to waste any time. Emma was ruling my world, and I wouldn't want it any other way. She huskily laughed on the other end. "'Kay. Drive carefully." "I'll try. I can't get there fast enough though." I was grinning like a fool before cutting the call. What was wrong with me? Fucking come on. Smiling all the time was, well, not bad, but it simply wasn't me. We were at a house party thrown by the teammate, manwh, when I noticed Emma's drink was about empty. "I'm going inside to get more to drink. Do you want anything?" I whispered in her ear, my hand snaking inside her fitted top, touching her hot skin, before giving the side of her hip a tight squeeze. Emma shook her head before giving me a light kiss. "I'm okay for now, babe." "Well, I could use a drink." Amber chimed in. "Me too, Mason," Trista hooted out. "I could use some munchies too, please," she asked sweetly. I groaned before unclasping my hand from Emma's body. Yes. Anything else?" "Yeah. Bring some hot men," Amber called out as I started walking back inside the villa. I was at the bar, waiting on my drinks, when Cece appeared next to me. Glancing her way, I made a quick nod before reverting back to watching the barman make my drink as I toyed with the thin red straw in my mouth. When Cece moved closer, I pretended that she wasn't there. She knew I was with Emma, but she didn't care. "I'm still crazy about you," she murmured, voice almost whiny. Here we go again. Cece's been in love with me. She confessed that she'd always been. That's why she gave her virginity to me that night when she woke me up naked her junior year. Cece has appeal, and I'm not going to lie, I've called her up when I needed a quick release. She always gave out, not once did she ever tell me no, but that's all she was, a quick fuck. Deep down she knew I wasn't going to take her seriously, but she'd continued to be relentless. "You know I'm with Emma now, Cece. You have to stop throwing yourself at me and to my friends to get my attention," I blurted out, not looking at her. I knew she seduced my friends to get a reaction from me, but I hadn't cared. If a woman made her pussy an open bar to any males, they'd definitely line up and get a taste. It was mere curiosity, simply because a guy got a taste, didn't mean he wanted to marry you though. That was just the truth. I'm never giving up on you. I gave up too much just to be with you, even my friendship with your sister. Come on now. You fucked that up on your own by sleeping with Brody. Cece looked shocked. Yeah, I'm not blind. I've always known she's in love with him. Since Brody hasn't done anything out of line, I haven't said anything. But what you did was messed up. No one's at fault here but you. You knew my sister, and yet you decided to stab her where it hurts. I wanted you to see what you've been missing out. Trust me, Cece. I'm looking at you, hell. I've been looking at you for years, and let me tell you, I sure as hell am not missing out. Emma's not going to last, you know that, right? She's too boring with her sweet smiles. You've got your fetishes, Carter, and she sure as fuck won't give you that. I'll be counting down the days. What the fuck? I snorted at her attempt to cause doubts in my head. Tipping the barman after he handed me my drinks, I went outside and joined the gang, who were all seated on the outdoor seats. After placing the drinks on the table, I moved towards Emma, who looked deep in thought. Want to go for a walk? She gave me a tight smile before getting up and taking my held-out hand. We were walking in complete silence, all the while I was trying to figure out what had gone wrong. When we were out of prying eyes, I stopped walking. Baby, come here. I pulled her against my body, cupping her face before I kissed her passionately. My body responded to her, on a sexual level that I hadn't experienced before. All it took was just a kiss and I was up and ready. When she pulled away, she immediately sought my eyes, questioning. I saw you with Cece. You two looked cozy, so I didn't interrupt. Took her long enough to tell me. We were talking about the past, that's all. There's nothing for you to worry about. I kissed her nose before I gave her lips a few lingering ones. Frowning, she gave me a sharp look. You've slept with her before, right? Shit. Yeah, I have here and there. It was just physical, nothing more. Emma kept staring at me, blinking a couple times before looking away. I know, I hear stories about you. Double shit. Fuck Em. What do you want me to do? I can't undo my past and I sure as hell won't apologize for it. I don't want you to. It's just annoying that I have to hear about your sex life and what kind of crap you're into. She paused and looked down before she bit her bottom lip. I'm just sick of hearing about it. It's exhausting. She had grounds to be bothered, but there was nothing I could do about it. Emma looked so serious that I only wanted to see her smile, but of course, I tried to do it differently. You sound jealous. No, she immediately denied, blushing. You look cute when you lie, my Emma. Keep dreaming, Mason. No need. I'm seeing you crystal clear and I'm saying it again, you're lying. I sat on the sand, grabbing hold of her hand before gently pulling her in between my legs. Emma made a small, cute yawn before seeking my shoulder. I'm sleepy, she mumbled before giving another stifled yawn. She definitely liked me, more than just sex, I was almost sure of it. I was grinning madly before I kissed her forehead. Let me take you to bed, baby. Things were great, no hell, maybe more than great for the first 2 months. I noticed the shift in Emma one night after having sex. She hadn't said anything, but I knew something was going on. Baby, is everything okay? I asked, coming up behind her, spooning her soft body against mine. She murmured that she was okay, but her body was stiff against mine. Em? You can tell me if something's bothering you. I heard her sigh, but she didn't say anything. Shit. That's not a good sign right there. Good night, she murmured. Emma, speak up before I go crazy here. You're acting funny, and I want to know what the fuck's going on. Okay, I sounded like a total dick, but I was getting frustrated. I didn't do this whole thing well, but I wanted to know. I didn't like seeing her sad. It affected me. Though she might not know it. Fine. I just didn't realize how many women throw themselves at you. Cece, Amanda and her sidekicks are on the top of the list. She was getting jealous again. The way she said their names made me smile. Kissing the side of her jaw, I said, You're the one in my bed, Em. Not them. She snorted, pissy. Well, Cece's definitely been on yours. Probably on this bed too, enjoying herself a great deal. Grinning wider at her cute ranting, I started to kiss her neck while my hand snaked inside her sleep shirt, cupping her breast, loving the supple heaviness in my hand. I slowly worked on her before rolling myself on top of her body. My cock twitched when it slid down her wet lips while my hands were attached to her breasts, my head lowering to meet her moist clit. "Baby," she groaned when I started to eat her with gusto. Moaning as I tasted her, I was enjoying the profound pleasure it was giving her. When she was about to come, I left her pussy and bit on her nipple. "Kiss me, Carter." Those big blue eyes pleaded before I lowered my lips to devour hers. "This is how much I want you, baby," I grunted out before I slipped into her slick opening. "You always make me so fucking hard." Emotional talks were not a strong suit for me. I was better off with pleasuring and showing Emma that she was the only woman I wanted. I sure as hell did show her, in and out of sleep throughout the night. 2 weeks later, we were back to this odd place again. "Em? Did I do something wrong?" She pulled back, considering me. "Not that I know of." "Why, do you have something to confess?" "Did I?" I thought for a minute, shaking my head in the process. "No." For the first time since we started dating, Emma announced she was going home to sleep in her bed. That was when the red flags erected in the back of my head. There was no doubt anymore, something was going on. Was it Louis? It had to be. No guy in school would dare take my woman away. Progressed, I was starting to get frustrated with Emma, but she wasn't saying anything. I was pissed off when I realized I was feeling fear for the first time. Yeah, fear, it was there sitting in my mind. After that first night of her announcing that she was sleeping in her bed, she was pulling slowly away. I tried to calm her, make her smile, tell her not to worry about other women, but none of it worked. I hadn't seen her for a day, but I was already freaked because I didn't know what the fuck was wrong. Maybe I'd been too busy with soccer, and she felt neglected. I didn't know, fuck. Not seeing her for a day was turning me into a clingy man, but I didn't care anymore. I needed to see her, but when I dropped unannounced to her dorm, she wasn't there. When I called her phone, she wasn't picking up. Even my sister didn't know what was going on, so I acted like we just had a small misunderstanding. Going back to my house, I decided to wait until Emma came to me. Tough luck. Why the hell was she avoiding me? Had I done something wrong? So far I couldn't think of one thing. What the hell? Emma was pissing me the fuck off. Okay, I knew I had to calm down. Maybe she truly was busy and I was overreacting. So I comforted myself with that thought as I dialed her number. Finally, Emma answered. Hey. Hey. I just saw Lindsay and she said you two had lunch. Why wasn't I invited? I would have loved to dine with my two favorite girls, I drawled, trying to sound easy. Yeah, she wanted to have some girl time. What's up, Carter? What's up? A lot of things, in fact. Just wondering what you're up to, 'cause I'm free for the rest of the afternoon. Feel like coming over to chill a bit? I asked, knowing I wanted answers from her. No more hiding. I couldn't go on another day feeling like something was the matter, but she was being stubborn and kept on avoiding me. I don't know about that, Carter, she whispered. Not again. I shut my eyes trying to calm myself, but it was of no use. I grunted, frustrated at whatever was going on with her, with us. I missed her, couldn't she tell? I haven't seen you in 2 days, Em. 2 days. This is the longest I haven't seen you. I sounded like a petulant kid, pouting and stomping because I couldn't get my way, but shit, it's what I felt at the moment. I've been busy, she murmured, a little hesitant to emphasize what she'd been busy with. Who was she kidding? She was outright lying to me. She was keeping something important from me, but she wasn't going to tell me what. Was it Louis? Would she give us up to be with Louis? But we were good together. I've never been so happy with a woman before. She couldn't leave me, or could she? Shit. Emma. Shit. Busy. You've been busy? Get real, Em. We both know you haven't been busy. Why don't you come over? Maybe it's high time we talk. She was silent on the other end, possibly figuring out what I was thinking or what she was going to say to me. I'll see you in an hour. In an hour and not a second longer, got it? If you keep hiding away from me, I will scour the entire campus to look for you, I gritted out. My anger was heavily laced on each of the words I just spoke out. Got it, she responded quickly and ended the call. I sat back on the foot of the bed, head in between my legs, trying to breathe some sense into me. What if she left me? What would I do then? A part of me was saying to fight for her because we were awesome together, but the other was pushing me to end it. If Emma decided to bounce and call it quits, then I should do the same. After all, we were just having fun, right? But in all honesty, I had never been more confused in my life. Suddenly, I was dreading the moment she walked through the door. My gut was telling me that nothing good would come of her visit. My dark hair had droplets of water in it while I waited for her. After I'd showered, I hadn't cared to towel my hair dry. I was that anxious to get this show started. I was on the stair landing, impatiently waiting, when I heard a car door slam shut, followed by the sound of her car alarm being turned on. I instantly got to my feet and started pacing. Emma pushed the front door open, glancing around with a small frown on her pretty face. Good of you to finally show up, I announced from atop of the landing, only wearing a pair of cargo shorts, showing off my physique, knowing that Emma loved my body. It was childish, but I intend to use every weapon I had until her game of hide-and-seek was over. By the hungry, heated notice she was giving my body, I knew it had worked to my advantage. I'm 5 minutes early. What more do you want? Emma whispered, voice a little shaky as her eyes zeroed in on my abs. Taking my time, I let her ogle me some more before I descended the stairs with no care to hurry the hell up. I continued my lazy saunter until I was right before her, standing a foot away as I studied her quietly. What more do I want, Emma? I reiterated succinctly. I want you to be honest. She blinked back, looking like I had offended her. What came next was something I wasn't prepared for. I don't think I can do this with you anymore, Emma managed to whisper before she found my penetrating gaze, hard and never leaving hers. Was Emma toying with me? We were perfectly fine. So fine, in fact, I was confident that I was beginning to think that she might be the woman who could cure me from my short-term commitment problem. Why? What's changed? You were fine the last time we were together. If I recall correctly, you were more than fine. You were insatiable and didn't want me to leave your side, you even followed me into the shower. What was it that you said? Oh right, because you missed me. So you go from that type of adoration to, I don't think I can do this anymore so quickly. Tell me what's changed. I gritted out, trying my damnedest not to yell. Her brows furrowed when she noticed the edge in my voice. With a shaky breath she croaked out, It's just not working out, Carter. I shot her a look that said, I didn't believe the crap that came out of her mouth. Emma was breaking up with me. To be with her ex? I moved a little closer, my anger very much obvious. That's not really telling me much, Em. Do you just expect me to let you go? I snapped my fingers right before her face, just like that. Sort of, she uttered. Not in the slightest convinced, I moved closer. Satisfaction came when I felt her body shaking. You're not going anywhere, Emma, I thought possessively. Not until we finish this, whatever this was between us. That's where you're wrong. This body, my forefinger reached out and grazed the outline of her very erect nipple, brushing it, responds to me. You may not notice the changes, but when you entered my home, these weren't visible. With audacity, I pinched a nipple and she gasped at my crass boldness. But the second I stood before you, your body betrayed you. It acknowledges the kind of power I have over you. Emma let out a frustrated groan, visibly turned on just where I wanted her. Moving against her hot body, I felt it shiver against me while my hand went under her short denim skirt, caressing the insides of her thighs as we gazed at each other without breaking contact. Carter, she hesitated, knowing full well where this was going, and that body of hers was very much on board with what I had in mind. Let's stick to what we're good at, Emma, and that's indulging each other's needs, My wet hot tongue ran along the back of her ear to the base of her neck. Her hot body slightly shook, lost in her carnal desires before I squatted down and parted her unstable legs. My seeking finger pushed her drenched thong aside. I felt heady as I breathed her musky scent of arousal. I gave out a groan before I stuck my tongue out, moving it to snake its way into her wet folds. Carter, someone might come back. We can't do this out here for everyone to see, she shrieked out, panting, but it was obvious that she wanted this as much as I did. Emma's body was easy to decipher, and I was hell-bent to make a point that we were good together. Fuck it. Nothing right was coming out of her mouth, I yelled in my head before I let my tongue play with her clit, the hot tip teasing in circles, up and down before I sucked it, then released it again, and started from the beginning. While my tongue was busy, my left middle finger found her wet passage, leisurely teasing it in agonizing orbits until she was leaning against the wall, eyes closed, writhing for more. My tongue gave her pussy some fierce lashings like a whirlpool, full of ferocious intensity, and I could see it was working her good. So good that she was getting wetter with every flick, with every suck, with every stroke I granted her. Moisture leaked out of my dick when Emma's fingers went to my hair and grabbed onto it while she moaned and writhed against my face, grounding her tight butt on my mouth for me to annihilate some more. Feeling good, clearly happy that my plan was working out well, I mused before I hooked her toned left leg and placed it on my shoulder, exposing more of her for my ministrations. Emma grew wild with abandon, moaning my name and begging for her release. I could feel her orgasm nearing when her muscles clamped down on my finger. Her body tightened, prepping for the brewing force of her release. She was mere seconds away from convulsing when I cruelly decided to halt it. My eyes sought hers as I unbuttoned my pants and stood in the foyer butt naked. I stood there, letting her eyes devour me as my cock throbbed, gleaming against the sun rays that filtered through the windows. Emma hungrily licked her lips, gazing at me, charged with lust. The energy between us crackled, pulling me towards her, aroused with pure and potent sexual ardor. When her eyes sought mine, something flashed there before I jammed my cock inside her already parted legs that were begging to be filled with my shaft. Emma purred in heat, her body welcoming me with fervor. Carnal, we exulted at the feel of our connected bodies. While I took her pliable form, our passionate fucking bordered on fervid, senseless mating. She hooked her leg up on my thigh, giving my thrusts greater access as I pummeled deeper into her, gripping her hips as I hammered her tight pussy into oblivion. Emma baby, I panted out while she gripped my shoulder. Growing wild and wanting more satisfaction, needing more of what she was offering, I lifted her off the floor and roughly pushed her against the wall as if she weighed nothing. With each powerful hard rough thrust of my hips, I sent her into euphoric ecstasy. Cartier! Emma screamed, over and over again while I thrusted harder, fucking her with uncontrollable speed while her screams vibrated throughout the house, driving me into an even more frenzied state. Emma let out another scream before she started to pant. Her orgasm convulsed through her entire body. Her vaginal walls tightened around the length of my manhood, driving me even further with a rapid need of completion, my release. My climax crashed on me like never before. I was blown away at the amount of tension my body felt before I let out a hoarse scream. Emma! My body shook rigid. My shaft shot rope after rope of my seed inside her. Hell, that was pure heaven. I grunted and grumbled something incoherent while I kept pulsating inside her womb. With another final push of my cock, I slowly lowered Emma back onto the marbled floor before burying my head deeply into the crook of her neck. Pleasure and satisfaction radiated off me, but most of all, I just felt great to have Emma here. I missed you so much, I thought as I gently planted a shaky kiss on her neck. Baby, you're mine, I thought possessively. Mine. 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 Emma tried to move, but I didn't let her. I placed my hands on the sides of her head while my cock still throbbed deep within her walls, impaling her, preventing her from moving. We were great together, how could she even think this wasn't working out? Her baby blues flicked back and forth, as if trying to read my mind, but I coldly matched her gaze, wishing I knew what was going on in that pretty head of hers. There will be no talks of you leaving me, Em. The only way this ends is when I say it ends. You got that? She looked panicked before she blurted out something that fucked me inside out. Lewis and I are thinking of getting back together. Ah, hell no. I beg your pardon? I uttered in my most deadly tone as I moved closer to her face. You heard me. Don't make me say it again. She was dumping me for her ex? Nothing was making sense. I was angry, I was hurt, but most of all, I was livid because I wasn't ready to end it with her. Hell, after 3 months, I still wanted her so bad. Emma, you're messing with my head so bad, I want to break something. I wanted to scream my anger and punch someone. Why? I wanted to ask. Wasn't I good enough? I hadn't even looked at another woman, let alone dated anyone. Emma ruled me. Guess Lewis didn't stop pursuing her. Somehow the thought of her with another man created a surge of fierce feelings in me, making me more furious. Was this your goodbye fuck then? I nudged my hips forward, making her unconsciously moan. My cock was semi-hard after our session, but I was more than ready to take her again. I could feel my shaft growing rapidly to its full length and girth once more. You're the one who started it, but sure, if you want to call it that. You can unsheath yourself from me now, Emma ordered, but I wasn't listening. If this was her goodbye fuck, then I better make sure that I fucked her until my dick was sick of fucking her. I wasn't going to let her leave my house without achieving that. If she wanted to end it, then so be it, but I was getting my fill first. My eyes wickedly twinkled, drowning in her beauty. Oh no, my luminous beauty, I have yet to satiate myself. I must do that before I can unsheath myself. I smiled in such a way that only meant one thing. Sex, lots and lots of monkey sex, I thought, before I unceremoniously picked her up and carried her up the flight of stairs and into the master bedroom. Carter. Emma screeched after I dumped her on the bed, splaying her legs wide open and quickly surging my shaft into her moist opening. Shit. How could you? I wanted to scream as I pounded her roughly, watching her as she gasped for air. When Emma started moaning, I got angrier. Are you going to miss how I fuck you, Emma? She met my gaze before turning her head to the side, which only got me more frenzied. Cupping her face, I probed into her, not letting her break eye contact as I stretched her vaginal walls. Emma was tightening around me, gripping me beautifully, but I wasn't ready to let go, not yet. Slowing down, I rolled my hips slowly as I tried to breathe through my mouth. I wanted to embed this feeling of her in my memory. Emma's gaze dropped on my lips, and in that instant, I knew she wanted to kiss me, and I had to fight with good resolve not to. Looking at the woman who was different amongst the rest for me, I felt a million different things in each heartbeat, but my mind wasn't equipped to understand it. So I focused on the one thing I knew well. I took as much as I could from her lovely body, and after 2 hours of long, arduous lovemaking, I finally relented. We lay naked against the sheets, both staring blankly at the ceiling. I didn't even bother holding Emma like I usually did after sex. This was breakup sex, but the urge to reach out and hold her close for the last time was so strong, I kept telling myself that she wanted to be with Lewis. From the corner of my eyes, I could still see that she had her legs open, still a little shaky from our rigorous sweaty engagement. I sat up and planted my feet on the floor, my mind more befuddled than anything, as I tried to figure out a way to end it without begging her to stay. Truthfully speaking, I had never parted or dismissed a relationship when I wasn't ready to let the woman go yet. So this was pretty new to me. If I asked her to stay, would she laugh at me? The decision was made the second I heard her heavy sigh that was so loaded with sadness that it instantly made me snap back to reality. I guess having sex with me was such a task that she had to sigh like that, huh? To hell with it, I'm sure I could find another replacement. I guess there's always going to be a first for everything. Standing up, bare naked, I started to head towards the bathroom, but halted mid-stride, knowing I had to break away without looking at her. Call me a pussy, but I couldn't look at her and say goodbye. You can gather your things and go now, Em. Thanks for the great sex. I'll see you around. I heard her gasp, but I went straight to the bathroom, turning on the dials before I stared at the mirror before me, wondering what I did wrong again. Where did it start going sour? I shook my head, as if to get rid of the heaviness inside my chest, before getting in the stream of the shower head. Closing my eyes, I recalled the first time I kissed her. How could something that beautiful turn into something like this in a span of 3 months? I just didn't get it. The thought of Louis and Emma together again made me viciously punch the tiled wall of the shower. I didn't even flinch when my knuckles hit the cold stone. Emma, I whispered, swallowing the lump in my throat. I wasn't ready to let you go, but I tried to reason with myself that I could easily replace her, forget her because she could drop me so easily without remorse. Why couldn't I do the same? At midnight, I found myself at another college party, after the 10th call from people trying to get me to drop by. After saying hello to a few people from the team, I went straight to a brooding-looking Brody. What's up with you? I asked, sipping half of my beer down. I think something's going on with your sister and Cooper, that's what. Shrugging, I glanced at Brody and then followed where his gaze was staring, at Lindsay and Cooper, who looked like they're talking about something amusing. Looks like they're enjoying a good laugh. Brody snorted, not breaking his scrutiny at the duo that looked like they were having the time of their lives, laughing. You're okay that Cooper is interested in your baby sister? As long as he doesn't hurt her, I don't mind. I think it's time she sticks to one relationship. Well, I think at least one of us needs to be in a good relationship, and Coop's a good guy, so why the hell not? You're good with Emma too, bro. I thought so too, but hell, she punched me out of nowhere, knocking me back down. Nah, we broke up earlier. We're through. Brody eyed me like I was a sick fucker. Fuck, Mason. Can't you keep a good woman for once in your life? Why do you have to keep bouncing from one woman to the next? Pot meet kettle, seriously. Are you talking to me or referring to yourself? It's not like I wanted to end it, she called it quits. Breaking it off with Emma, the thought never crossed my mind. Maybe that's why this was messing me up like a bad flu. Brody didn't believe me. Get out of here. Damn it, but Emma dumped me. She fucking did. And you just said what? Okay, we good. You're an idiot, Carter. If you're not ready to end it, fucking fight it with her, dude. She probably heard some rumor about you or something stupid like that. Women overthink things too much. I wish that were the case. At least I could sweeten my way out of it, or better yet, kiss my way out of it. In this case though, nothing would do. She's going back to her ex. You sure? When you were with her last week, did it seem like she wanted to end it? He asked, frowning. Last week? No, she was very sweet, gentle and extra clingy. Emma seemed like she couldn't get enough of me. No, I don't think so. He looked at Lindsay again before speaking. You sure she's not in love with you? How many times have you been in this position before? I mean, women breaking it off so you could chase after them, but you never do. Maybe this is the same case, but now you really want to go after her. This had happened a lot before, but Emma, in love? Was it possible? I wasn't so sure. I don't know, man. She seriously caught me off guard today. Don't just stand here and doubt some more. Go figure this shit out before news breaks out that you guys broke up, Brody advised me, still not breaking his intensified gaze at my sister. It already did. The second I showed up without her, they already assumed that we were through, without me saying anything. Guess you're that predictable. Brody frowned as he stared some more at Lindsay and Cooper. Sighing, I knew I had to say something. You like Lindsay? Nah. He nervously glanced at me before staring back at them. I grew up with her. I'm just protective, I guess. Bullshit, Thompson. You're turning red. I learned in 3rd grade that Brody turned red when he was lying. I was the only person who knew that, but he was still hell-bent on denial. Fuck off. You don't know what you're talking about. I love this dude, but wasn't he a little too late for this? He messed it up so bad. Whether you admit it or not, you're on the outs, man. You fucked her best friend. You killed it then. She's fascinatingly scary, he said out loud, amazement in his voice. I've always been in love with your sister, but she was too young and too innocent. I didn't want to disappoint her. We were just too young. In love, I guess I knew that too, deep down I did. Why was he acting on this love now though? He was cool with it before. Guess now things were different since one of his friends was all over the woman he couldn't have. Well, no, Lindsay was the only woman he chose not to have. Guess it's best to keep it that way. She hates your guts anyway. Damn straight she does. Better not even try it with her. She was going to grill him until he was charred to perfection. Brody was right, Lindsay was damn scary. She fucking does, doesn't she? He murmured, but his eyes looked like he was determined to get her. Lindsay always had that starstruck look about her every time Brody was around. I wasn't blind, but I also trusted my best friend not to do something stupid when she was in middle school or a freshman. I didn't say anything to him because I knew Brody. He respected me enough not to go after my naive sister, even if she was throwing herself at him at one point. Brody was a good man, but it seemed that he was starting to really see Lindsay now, moving on, dating other men, and not as that little girl who fed him apples while we played video games, cheering him on that he was the best player in the world. Yeah, little girl adoration, Brody got that in spades. Good luck. I tapped his shoulder before downing my drink and placing it on a table. He sure needed all the luck he could get. Even if there's a chance that Lindsay might still feel something for him, she sure as hell wouldn't tell him that. I knew my sister. She's going to make him suffer, maybe forever. You leaving already? I nodded, inserting my hands in my pocket before leaving Brody with his problems while I pondered some more about my situation with Emma. I found myself parking outside her place, sighing before killing the engine. I had keys to let myself inside, knowing that it was just Emma here, but I was scared to check if Lewis was in there with her. So I sat there for another hour, contemplating if I should go in, confront her with or without her ex, and talk properly. I finally decided that I should sleep on it and come back tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow would be best, I thought with certainty as I maneuvered out of the parking spot and back on the road, driving towards my house. A knock came on the door before it was shoved open by a sleepy-looking Brody. Seeing that I was in my bed, staring at the ceiling, he let out a sigh before he leaned against the shut door. Guess you didn't see her last night. No, I thought maybe we needed some time, even just for a day, to breathe, you know. Anyway, I'm going to see her soon, maybe in a couple of hours. I don't think that possible. Your sister left to party in Hollywood with the girls, Emma included. How'd you know? I called Lindsay after, well. I raised my brow at him when he didn't seem to know what to say next, which was mighty odd coming from the man I had known since birth. Fuck, bro. I don't know how to say this, but I can't say I'm sorry because I'm not. He paused, folding his arms, eyes not breaking from mine. I slept with Lindsay last night. Hearing that he slept with my baby sister was expected since the look on his face last night told me that he was going after her, but still, it was weird. I didn't want to hear guys talk about my sister that way. I just didn't want to tolerate it. Huh. She fucking left the second I fell asleep. She fucks with my mind. I went to go see her, but Cooper was there too. What the fuck, Brody groaned out. Well, Lindsay wasn't going to fall back into her Brody whiz, my god, like how she did back a decade ago. I knew that. You knew that was going to happen. Why are you even surprised? Hell, I don't know. Because it's supposed to mean more than that? It did to me. Guess she really wants to be with Co-op. Guess so, I agreed, not caring much. Are you fucking serious? You'd rather want her to be with Cooper than with me. Brody yelled at me, looking like I betrayed him or something. Whoa, calm down there, bud. If she wants to be with you, all the better, but if she chooses Cooper, I'm fine with that too. I want her happy. She's been miserable for years because she didn't see any other guy other than you. I know. After last night, I don't think Brody ran a hand over his hair, grunting. I gotta go. I'm going to get this shit straightened out before I run over every single person on the road, he muttered before slamming the door shut. Good for you, bro, I encouragingly thought. For years, I knew he liked my sister, but he kept his distance. Brody never voiced it out loud. It's surprising to think that it took him this long to come to his senses. Back to my problem. Now that I learned Emma was partying it up in Hollywood, I guess I had to change course. I could wait for her to come back from LA, or if I could reach her, I'd drive and check in somewhere and we could talk from there. At this point, I was willing to do whatever it took to make her happy and stay with me. If she wanted more commitment, I'd do it, or at least I'd like to try. Coming out of the shower, I strode over to my closet to get ready and head out to LA when my phone shrilled on my side table. Groaning, I shook the wetness out of my hair as I strolled towards my ringing device. Russo arg, no parties tonight, man, I thought with annoyance. What up? I answered before walking back towards my walk-in closet. Fuck, man. Go on Facebook. Cece just posted a video of Emma dancing with that Hollywood vampire guy. He's all up in your girl, man. Russo was pissed. He sounded like Emma betrayed him or something. With a calm voice I spoke, I'll go ahead and do that. Thanks, bro. I'll see you around. Ending the call, I sprinted towards my laptop and logged on the social media site. My heart was hammering so hard before I clicked on the said video. Halfway through, I shut the lid before throwing it against the wall. It hit the floor, cracked and broke. Just like me. Fuuuuuuuuuckkkk. I screamed on top of my lungs. My body was shaking uncontrollably as I slid against the foot of the bed, the images of what I had just seen flashing before me. After 2 minutes, I lifted myself off the floor and grabbed my phone to call Emma. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep, 9 missed calls and no answer. Shaking with all thumbs, I decided to text her. Me, where the fuck are you? After 20 minutes of agony, still no reply came. So I sent another message. Me, Cece just posted a video on Facebook of you and some celebrity guy dancing. What the fuck were you thinking? And then another, for good measure. Me pick. The fuck up. When all of my messages went unanswered, I called Lindsay. No answer. Then I was about to hang up on Amber when she picked up after the 5th ring. You only call when you need something, Carter. Wonder what this call might be about? Amber acted all innocent, but I knew better. These girls covered each other's asses, and I wasn't about to play their game. I was going through hell right now, and I wasn't in the right mind to be fucked with. Where the fuck is she? I've been calling her, but she's not picking up. Give the phone to her. I need to speak to Emma, Amber. My request was met with silence, and after a good minute of waiting, I thought the line must be dead. Amber, you there? I am, sweetie. Emma's not with us because Base went to get her for you, and she left with him. Amber's voice was sorry, knowing that for me to even make this call was huge. Hearing her apologetic voice made it even more real to me. Without a word, I cut the call, not wanting to expose myself, but more importantly, I had no voice to speak of. Emma left with Bascole, Hollywood's heartthrob, a playboy who went through women quicker than a tornado, wreaking havoc in the Midwest. A guy that a lot of women went crazy about. Was Emma one of them? If he wanted to take her to bed, would she let him? My thoughts were making me sick, but I wasn't about to give up yet. No, not yet. Emma and I weren't done. At 2 a.m, I left the house and jumped inside my vehicle. I went to Emma's apartment and waited until she came back. I didn't care if I was acting like a complete ass, and a crazy one at that. I had to know what the hell was going on. Right after lunch, I was about to fall asleep on the couch when I heard the clicking sound of heels that stopped immediately outside the door. Getting up, I charged towards it and yanked it open. One look at Emma was all it took to bring me an eternity of pain. She looked like she'd been up all night, but she had a glow on her face that only meant she enjoyed herself with the actor dude. Emma was sure as hell shocked to see me, but she quickly recovered after a half a minute. "Ah, hello," she said lamely as she started walking towards her bedroom. I barred her passage, almost jumping on her. "Is that all you have to say? A fucking hello?" I screeched, in turmoil that I was up all night, and yet she walked in here as if she was bored. What bothered me more was that she looked okay, when I, on the other hand, was out of my mind, chasing images of her with another man. Emma gave me a tired look, annoyed, as she folded her chest in exasperation. "What do you want, Carter?" Her careless expression goaded me more to act like a nutty, delirious man. Without thinking, I pulled her inside her bedroom and shut the door loudly, before I shoved her up against the wall and placed my strong hands on each side of her head, caging her in. "What I want is for you to explain what the hell you're doing. The entire school knows about your little getaway and your little stint with that actor dude," I hissed out, almost blurting how much hurt she was causing me, but I didn't, because Emma looked like she was over me. "That's none of your business, Carter, and certainly not the entire campus's either. I couldn't care less about what they think. Now will you please move? I need to rest. I'm exhausted." She sounded completely nonchalant. I was ready to take her right here, right now, and demand she tell me that she wanted me back, but the image of Emma in someone's bed last night made me see white in maddening rage. "You're exhausted? From what, Em?" My voice had gone low and deadly because, true enough, I was just a tiny push away from it. Emma nervously swallowed hard, eyes on me, possibly thinking shit to come up with. I said, "That's none of your business. Got it?" She spat the words back at me, almost just as riled up as I was. It was my business, though. Emma made me happy. I felt like she completely left without giving me a second thought, without any regrets about us. "Don't do this to me, Em, this is driving me insane." I blurted out, knowing that this was the closest I'd come to begging her not to leave me. Emma looked unsure as she looked at me, eyes confused. "I thought we were done?" she asked, watching me with great uncertainty, gauging my thoughts. "I want you back," my eyes screamed at her. "I want you back, Emma." With a pounding heart, I closed my eyes and whispered, "I know, but I can't stomach the thought of you with another guy. I just can't. I'm going crazy here, Emma. You had no idea how much." "Do you love me?" she throatily asked. Her unexpected question made me open my eyes and immediately seek her blue ones, searching and pensive as I tried to make sense of what I found in those depths. Why ask a question I had emphasized in the very beginning that I didn't do? Why push the damn stupid subject, knowing the outcome would be the same? Unless Emma was. Cautiously, I replied, "I told you I don't do love, Em. When I spoke the word love, it tasted bitter on my tongue. God, how I hated that word. The second I spouted the words, Emma became a different woman again. That little window of vulnerability was gone, and back was the nonchalant woman. Then there's no point of you being here, now is there, Carter? My dark eyes penetrated hers, trying to read her. Was she playing a game? A game so that I could come running back to her, declaring stupid, idiotic notions of love. She could just be. After all, women were such conniving creatures. My mother took the cake for that. Are you in love with me, Em? Is that what this is all about? Reaching out, I gently cupped her cheek, missing the feel of her skin against mine. I don't, Emma shakily uttered, emboldening me to press on the subject some more. If she was in love with me, I wouldn't care because I liked being with her. With her love and devotion, it only meant that she wouldn't leave, and I liked very much for her to be by my side. You don't sound convincing to me, and if that's the reason why you broke it off, then I don't mind that as long as you're with me again, I emphasized. Hell, I think I prayed that she was in love this very second. That was another first, since praying in me didn't kick well. Her eyes looked panicked before becoming cold, transforming her demeanor in a blink of an eye. Well, that's your problem. Now will you please get out of my room? I didn't sleep much last night, and I need some rest. Last night she went to be with another man, went inside his home, and came back looking like she had a good all-nighter. Fuck. Shit. I wasn't sure what to do if she told me she slept with him, and had another man enjoy her. Em, is it true? Did you spend the night with him? It seemed to take so much effort to speak those words. Something was suctioning my breath away from my body while I tried to fight it off, but the longer she took to respond to my question, the harder it became to bring air into my lungs. She waited for a good minute before continuing. He took me back to his home, and yes, we spent the night together. She pressed her lips together as I tried to hold back a scream and demand shit from her. Confused and angered at the emotions that were seizing me in immediate absorption, I punched the wall next to her, hard, before growling like a maniac. I knew from the strong sting that I was cut open and bleeding, but I was past caring. I felt like someone just torched me, letting me burn alive while I screamed for help, for someone to rescue me, but no one could hear my wretched screams. I couldn't look at the woman who had fucked with my life. I wanted to leave her presence and not look back any longer. Goodbye, Emma, I whispered, and immediately marched out of her room. Imagine the crapload of shit I had to face the next day when someone shoved a magazine at me with Emma and bass in his parking lot, almost kissing and smiling like they were so happy together after practice. So much for telling myself that I could easily move on from her. Guess that wasn't happening, I thought with dread as new emotions rolled off me again. Not wasting any time, I left the locker room and headed towards the coffee shop where the girls always hung out in between classes. I could see them right out the window. Parking next to the curb, I climbed out of my vehicle with fucking determination. Walking inside the coffee place, I saw Trista's face light up, then Amber's and Emma's nervous-looking glance as I approached their table. Can we talk outside? I directed towards Emma, not masking my intentions anymore. She gawked at me for a few seconds, possibly thinking about the shit I was going to bitch at her about after seeing that magazine. All right. She got up before she glanced at Amber and Trista. See you ladies later, she murmured. The look on those two was pretty much curiosity on how this was going to play out. They'd never seen me act like this. Well, hell, I'd never seen myself like this, and I didn't like it one bit. Walking towards the doors, I guided her out. Once outside, I silently strode towards my black Escalade and opened the door for her to hop in. I exhaled another long breath while I spun towards the other side, my side, before opening the car door and sliding in, locking all the doors. The engine was running with no music playing, the silence was deafening, and here I was, not sure what to tell Emma. Putting my feelings into words was a hardship I needed to get over pretty soon, before she committed herself to another man. I thought you wanted to talk. So talk, Emma commanded, apparently aggravated at my silent state. Give me a moment, I pleaded silently as I stared past the windshield, out at the pavement. Running my hands through my disheveled hair, I forced myself to get my shit together. Scratching my brow with my finger before facing the woman on my side, I sought those beautiful orbs. Blue eyes met my dark, fathomless depths. Without breaking eye contact, I spoke with evident strain and torment. I really want you back, Emma. Bad. Calmly, she responded to my declaration. We've been here before. Yesterday, in fact, if you don't recall. I know. I was an idiot. I haven't slept because every time I shut my eyes, you're all I see. When news broke about you and Bass spending the night together, I couldn't take it, Em. This is fucking killing me. You're killing me, and I'm going insane. I can't think straight. She leaned back against the leather headrest, looking like she was thinking hard. When she finally spoke after the short stretch of silence, though, she kicked my gut again. I can't do that. Why the hell not? You and I were great together, Em. We were, and you know it. I sighed heavily and stared at the car ceiling. We had only broken up a few days ago. At this point, we could still figure shit out, unless she was with Bass already. Fuck me. Are you guys dating now or something? I rushed out. My Adam's apple was bobbing up and down while I tried to read her. My eyes flickered back and forth, searching for the truth. She thought for a second before shrugging. No. It's not like that. The gossip you see and hear is just, well, gossip. She nervously glanced at me, wondering. Why are you doing this now, Carter? Is this about your pride and ego? Because I honestly don't buy the shit you're telling me. We both know that you've had some crazy wild rides around town. Sex with me isn't exceptional. You've done more questionable sexual exhibitions with other women. So what the hell is going on? This was about other women again. Was Emma serious? This was between us. US and no one else, damn it. Unfucking believable. I fucking miss you. That's what's going on. It's the entire truth. I barked out in frustration. Couldn't she tell? Did I have to spell it out for her? Couldn't she see how much I was suffering? Don't shut me down without some thought, Em. Just promise you'll think it over before you give me an answer. I'd rather take that than your immediate rejection. Silence. Emma? I pleaded when she didn't speak. I'll think about it. No promises though, just so we're clear, she clarified with total nonchalance. Guess that was better than nothing. Thank you. That means a lot to me. My eyes lingered on her some more, wanting to reach out and erase that frown on her face. It's past 1 already, want to grab something to eat? Or better yet, why don't I take you out tonight? I haven't taken you out on a date for a while, I lightly suggested, hopeful. Emma scornfully glared at me before responding to my offer. I'm fine. Do you think you could just drop me off at my dorm? Yeah, of course. When I got us into traffic, I turned to her. It's our second to last game of the season against UCLA. Will you come and wear my jersey? She shook her head, rejecting me. I can't. I have things to do. I barely nodded, not wanting to push the issue. If I had to win her back, I had to calm it down and change my tactic. Student housing was pretty close to the cafe, so the ride back was quick. Thanks. I'll see you around, Emma muttered before slamming my door shut. I sat in the car while I watched her walk away from me. My eyes followed her as she climbed the stairs, and when she got to the top landing, I saw her look at me. Was that a smile that formed on her lips? I wasn't sure, but whatever it was, it made my day, because in my head it was surely a smile. Hey Bass? Ready to go? I heard Emma ask as the apartment door suddenly swung open. Brody strolled in first, followed by me. At that point, I tried to act like I was fine, but when I saw the actor, I was immediately shaking with rage. Calm thoughts left me in a second. "What are you two doing here?" Lindsay asked in annoyance. Brody glanced at Emma, then at Base. "We, thought you guys would like to go and get something to eat." How the hell did this happen? I was planning to take my girl on a date, guess not any longer. I couldn't go on pretending that she was mine when she's dressing up like a beautiful, sexy bombshell for this guy. The cocky actor's confidence made me want to spit on his face and smash it to the ground. Grinding my teeth together, I knew I had to get my shit together or hell was going to break free. "Didn't you guys have soccer practice?" Lindsay asked again, eyeing us in question. "It was cancelled, Linz," I noted, my voice deadly. No one bothered with introductions because the atmosphere in the apartment was so strained, intense. Bass wrapped an arm around Emma's waist possessively, staking his claim. "Let's go." Out of nowhere, a scary growl came from me while my fists were clenching and unclenching, trying to calm the fuck down but itching to throw a punch, just a fucking punch to launch my anger at this cocky actor. Bass broke the silence again. "Let's go." Emma nodded in agreement before turning towards Lindsay. "Linz, thanks for the help and everything. I'll call you later." She hugged her before Bass guided her out the door. "Yo bro, you cool?" Brody asked as I stared at the door, contemplating if I should yank it open and grab Emma back inside and away from that stupid Hollywood guy. He had his arm wrapped around Emma, my Emma, like she was his already. The poison that was tearing me up inside was toxic, and I was being enslaved by its burning pain. I had no clue on how to stop it. My Emma was out with him again. Without thinking, I shot her a text message. For some reason, I wanted to cry. Witnessing Emma moving on from me, not with Lewis but with another man, was just too much. Lewis, I suppose, was just a lie to get rid of me. From where I was standing, it looked like she wanted to go out there and see other men. Possibly get more experienced with dating and enjoying others. I felt like a fool for believing that she and I could make it work. Well, that was it. I was fucking done too. "Me, you just broke me apart, Em. It took all my strength not to yank you away from him and keep you for myself. But what good would that do? You don't want me. I guess I have to accept that, huh? I get it. The message is loud and clear. I'm not going to wait for you anymore. I guess good things always slip away. You were special to me, Emma." After I was done, I reverted back to staring at the door. What was she doing right now? Where were they going tonight? "Carter, hey." Lindsay shook my arm. I blinked twice and ordered myself to snap out of the trance I was in. "I'm good. You guys want to bounce and get some grub?" I asked my sister and Brody as they both looked at me strangely. Worried would be the right word, but they shouldn't be. It was only pussy, right? This shit wouldn't get me down. I had said my piece and begged twice for Emma to consider us again, but tonight she made her point, her choice. I wasn't going to waste my time pining for someone, even if they were fucking explosive in bed. There were dozens of women out there. Emma's just one of many. Are you sure about that? Then, why have you declined all the pussy platters that have been offered to you like a goddamn buffet, huh? My thoughts popped evilly out of nowhere, countering my confidence. Okay, cool. Emma was special, I conceded. So special, in fact, that I hadn't been tempted to stray for 3 months straight. That was a fucking record for me. I'm staying home. I'm not that hungry, Lindsay replied. Lindsay. Come on, join us? Brody begged my sister. It was obvious that Brody wanted her, but Lindsay was keeping her distance. God knows what the fuck was going on with those two. If it were any other guy, I would have been worried. However, it was Brody, my childhood best friend, and one of the only people I knew who was decent around here. I wouldn't mind him asking my sister out as long as he treated her well, but if he fucked up, I would be the one he'd have to answer to. No, I said, I don't feel like going out, okay? Lindsay snapped. Feel like going through in and out and then straight to Amanda's party? I asked Brody, but he was too engrossed in staring at my sister to hear me. Fuck. Enough. I was getting sick of all this puppy follow you anywhere shit. I'm going to bounce. You two figure shit out, I said as I closed the door shut. Fuck it all. I'm going straight to the party. Amanda Johnson was having a party at her parents' mansion that overlooked the ocean in Carpinteria. It didn't take me that long to get there, and once I was inside, I felt a bit better. The place was in wild party mode, just my kind of style. Yo bro. You going to try out for basketball since soccer season is over? Dwayne Russo asked as he tapped my shoulder and shoved a Corona in my hand. I downed the drink in one go and had a few shots of vodka before grabbing another beer. I needed to consume as much alcohol as I could to make myself numb so I could get through the night. I wanted to forget everything and not feel shit. I liked basketball, but my heart lay with soccer. I just might try out since it seemed like I need some kind of distraction. We'll see, dude. What's been going on? I looked around the vast lawn that sprawled towards the shore. People were milling about, laughing and drunk as fuck. Heads up, Amanda's been asking everyone if you're here. I guess you can say she wants to be your next candidate. You're such a lucky bastard, man. He laughed and decided to mingle with a giggly blonde trio who were licking salt off each other's breasts, getting ready to do shots. Carter, my man. Cooper, obviously drunk, slurred his words. Where the hell had he been? I hadn't seen him around in days. He and Brody seemed to have gotten into a nasty fight because they weren't talking to each other. I'd have to address that soon, mentally making a checklist. You think it's time to slow down on the booze? I asked with concern. I'd never seen Cooper like this. Cooper decided to ignore my question. Where the fuck is Brody, man? His eyes squinted as he looked around for him. I shrugged. He's back at Lindsay's dorm. The fight was on, but I wasn't going to be in the middle. It was between Brody and Cooper. I had my own demons to fight. Son of a bitch, he cursed as he stomped away. I immediately followed him inside the house, but only got halfway. There you are. I've been waiting all night for you. Amanda snagged me and led me towards a quiet sitting room, away from the buzz of the crowd, then pushed me on a couch. Amanda's been trying to get with me for the last 3 months. She would have been successful if I hadn't met Emma first. Amanda was hot, with her long legs, long brown hair and pretty green eyes. She knew it too. Tonight she was wearing a short, tight, red dress that showed off her body and left little to the imagination. With her sultry eyes and the way she was seductively biting her bottom lip, I should have been hard by now, or at least at half-mast, but I was neither. Amanda sat across from me and instantly spread her legs wide open. She wasn't wearing anything underneath. As I stared at her exposed cunt, inviting me to take my pleasure in it, I kept asking myself, do I want to hit that? Do you want to taste, baby? She murmured, sticking out her tongue, trying to entice me to touch and taste her. I just might if you could get me hard. But once I did, Emma would find out. Did I even care if she did? Was Emma enjoying herself tonight, underneath that man? I groaned. Fuck, she was killing me. I rubbed my chest to somewhat ease the ache I was feeling, but it wouldn't go away. Amanda pouted when I didn't respond to her. Still hung up on Emma? She doesn't deserve you, Carter. She moved away from her seat and sat next to me. Leaning over with exaggeration, she gave me a good vantage point of her creamy breasts. It was actually the other way around. I didn't deserve Emma. She was sweet and understanding, strong-willed and beautiful. She was a lot of things, but she didn't seem to realize it, which made her even more appealing. Amanda, still not wavering from her seduction, took down the top part of her dress, exposing her large boobs in my face. How far would this horny bitch go? I thought with amusement. Adamant, she grabbed my hand and placed it on her right breast. You want me to feel your breast, Amanda? I asked with boredom. Fuck, Carter. I didn't expect you to be so fucking boring. Are you fucking in love with Emma? She screeched as she grabbed my cock and started to rub it. Fuck. Love. Me? Emma? Was this love, the constant never-ending thought of her? You'd think at night I would get a damn break from thinking about her, but the nights were more tortuous because sleep would evade me, leaving me with my fucking memories of her. Fuck. This was not good. I swore I would never love. I would never be like my father. Never. I made an agonizing groan as the realization hit me. I was in love with Emma. All this time I loved her and I was fucking in denial, and now she was off with another man. Amanda took my groaning as a good sign and slipped her hand inside my jeans. When her hand stroked my dick, I started to get aroused. Shit. Not good, boy. There it is. I've woken the sleeping giant, she declared giddily. Baby, your cock is going to feel so good inside me. Her other hand had my jeans off in an instant, my boxers not far behind. Amanda, no, my weak plea faltered as her mouth sucked me hard. Damn, she's fucking good too. Let her suck you some more, and that will be it. Do you want a quick nut, or do you want Emma? Conscience was pounding on my mind as my cock pounded against Amanda's throat. Emma. I wanted her so much it hurts. It was a deep ache that was hard to get rid of. Then what the fuck are you waiting for, you fool? As much as I loved getting my dick worked over by a talented sucker and tongue twister, I loved Emma more. I didn't know how I did it, but I managed to get Amanda off my goods and left the room without a backward glance. No more of this shit. I wanted my girl back, I declared with certainty. If I had to go all out to get her, then so be it. I was past caring if I had rules before because they're all broken now. Emma was breaking me, so I had to free myself and ride with the tide. Hopefully, it wouldn't drown me with it. Jealousy feels like. I hate it. We were going to spend the weekend in Tahoe to celebrate our win. When Lindsay called, telling me that Emma was coming, I suddenly became nervous, but at the same time, I knew that this was my only chance to win her back, so I better prepare myself. So here I was, inside my SUV while we waited for Emma to come, and head out with the rest of us in separate vehicles to party in our family's cabin at Lake Tahoe. My heart skipped a beat when I saw Emma emerge, looking more gorgeous than she ever should. She frowned, glancing at the cars, possibly trying to come up with an excuse to ride with other people. Like hell she was. Everyone knew that I wanted Emma to ride with me. When our eyes met, she blushed and looked down before walking towards me. Sorry, I ran a little longer, Emma apologized as she opened the door. I exhaled loudly once I was out of the car, rounding towards where she was standing on the opposite side, and took hold of her purse without speaking to her. Thank you, she said kindly as I went to the back of the SUV and shoved it in the trunk. I wasn't trying to be a dick by not speaking to her, but at this point, I had to prepare myself to be around her again. Shit, I was nervous and excited just being near her. It was crazy sad, but I was happy for this small blessing. After 4 hours of a completely silent ride, I knew some serious stuff was brewing in the back. I was trying to engage Brody or Cooper to talk, but neither of them were speaking. After several attempts, I decided to ignore the people in the back and crank the music up to fill the silence. I just wanted to enjoy Emma's presence next to me, even if we weren't speaking to each other. The little joy I deluded myself in departed the second Emma's phone vibrated on the side door, where she'd put it when she got in, nestled on the door handle. It didn't take a genius to know who sent that stupid message when I saw her grin like a gushing schoolgirl. Fucking Bascole. Why don't you just drop dead? Better yet, why didn't he go fuck more of those models he enjoyed so much and leave my woman alone? I flicked a glance towards Emma. Her amused smile toyed with my insanity as she typed her reply. Shit, I tried to be nice. Really, I tried, but when she kept grinning like that and the stupid phone kept going without a break, I just lost my shit. Out of nowhere, I snatched the phone out of her hands and shoved it in my pocket for safekeeping. At this point, I knew I was acting like an angry bear with a sore head, but fuck it. I didn't want Base Cole to fuck with my weekend, the only opportunity I had to get my Emma back. Give it back, the starstruck woman of mine furiously demanded. Not happening, baby. Not until you're mine again. No. I pressed my lips together in a straight line, clearly determined and not budging an inch at her shrieking voice. Give Emma her phone back, Carter. Stop being such a tool. Lindsay chimed in, trying to help her friend out. That pushed me to lash out at Emma. Do you honestly think I'm going to sit here idly while you talk to another guy, Emma? Try to be a little sensitive here. I'm trying to drive, but I can't help being distracted when you smile stupidly at his messages. I fucking hate it. I hated it, but that was only half of what I was feeling, what I had gone through ever since you declared that you were going to break up with me. I apologize, that was rude of me. Can I have my phone back now? She made a half-ass apology. Try harder, baby, I silently mused. The thought of kissing her and touching her in places I had dreamt for days made me throb. Take it easy, man. Don't rush it and mess up your chance to be with her. Acting like a dick again, I didn't look at her. No. My eyes were stuck on the road, not wanting to glance at the beautiful woman next to me. What the fuck, Carter? She screeched at me, quickly losing her temper. Good, now we're in the same boat. Angry. Frustrated and in good need of release, steam and all. I'm desperate here. Finally. My butt is killing me. I hate long car rides. They're the most uncomfortable things ever. Lindsay declared, as I parked right outside the cabin that my family's owned for a few generations now. I grew up here, and it held great memories of my father, one of which being when he taught me how to fish. These were back in the good old days, before my mother decided to be a selfish bitch and started her affairs, hopping from one man to the next until my father was irrevocably destroyed. It was disconcerting to see my father, a good man who was unfortunate enough to fall for a woman like my mother, be so negatively affected by her indiscretions. I suppose she wasn't ready to have a family, let alone be or act like a mother to us. She was just that selfish. It was almost 8 at night, and the long drive should have exhausted me, but I was more energized because Emma was around me. Looking around, I saw Lindsay walking towards Amber's SUV, but I called her out, stopping her midway. Hey, Lindsay. I need to talk to you for a minute. Sure, what's up? She walked back towards me before I pulled her to the side, making sure no one was around to eavesdrop on our conversation. From the corner of my eye, I could see Cooper trying to help Emma with her stuff. We don't have any available room for Emma, I voiced out my thoughts, trying to read Lindsay's reaction, hoping that she wouldn't freak out with where I was going here. Hold up, why didn't you tell me this before I asked her to begin with? For this very reason, of course. She could sleep in mine, that is, well, if you're okay with her rooming with Russo and Jacobson. Over my dead body. I wasn't going to let that happen, but I needed my sister to see where this conversation was going. Hell no. You can always give her your room, you know? Or you could give her the bed, and you could sleep on the couch. That makes sense. Not happening in this lifetime either. I'll figure it out. I acted all stressed out about Emma's sleeping arrangement, but I already knew where she was sleeping, next to me. Like it was going to happen any other way. I wanted that blonde beauty back, and I planned to make her mine before this trip was over. Base Cole and the Hollywood glamour and trappings can all go back to hell. He's fucking with the wrong guy here. His stupid fame nor his arrogance sure as hell didn't intimidate me. Crisp autumn air and the smell of fall were floating in the air. The guys from the team were all busy fucking around with girls while I watched in amusement, drinking my beer, counting down the time until Emma wants to go to bed, my bed to be precise. Who's up for some hot tub? Brody asked everyone. A few girls hollered at him before Amber came out of nowhere, dressed in some slinky super tiny black and white polka dot bikini. Back off bitches, she hissed at the trio. I heard them muttering some colorful names before they headed towards the lake and got distracted by the bonfire and found other men to entertain them. What the hell? Do you have to be so rude, Amber? Brody glared at her before turning to me, asking me to join them. Sure, give me a sec. I was pulling my shirt off when I heard a woman whistle from somewhere. Spinning around, I found Amanda and Cece gawking at my exposed upper body. Take more off, please. We're loving the show, Amanda purred, licking her lips. Amber snorted in disgust. Stop being such a desperate hussy, Amanda. If your vagina is itchy, go find another jock out there. She pointed towards the lake where some of the guys we knew that played in other sports were partying with overblown speakers. Make sure to tell them Amber sent you and you're highly recommended, she continued scathingly, before Amanda threw her a disgusted look, huffing and pulling Cece's hand with her as they darted towards the lake. Brody frowned, glancing at Amber like she was another person. Jesus, Amber, will you calm your ass down? What? That bitch needs to be set in her place. I'm not deaf. I know she's after Carter. Since you both already nailed Cece, Amanda needed to be warned off. Hey. I had her without Brody there to clear the air. There were rumors that we sandwiched Cece. It didn't bother me, but hell, I'd rather just get it out there. All of the threesomes I had were with women, sisters, cousins, best friends, teachers, my aunt's friends, and identical twins. It was Cooper and Brody that did it, not me. Brody threw me a look like I really should shut my mouth before I got hurt. Amber looked perplexed. She was looking at Brody in a strange manner, almost hurt even, but why? Brody sure as hell wasn't an angel, but he was good man. Even good men get tempted too, especially when you grow up with raging hormones and Cece all out there with her body. It was understandable to men, but women were a different matter. Amber stood up, glaring at Brody then at me. You guys are such man-whores. Good thing Emma's not with you, and Lindsay should just dump Cooper and find another man like Base Cole, she muttered, leaving the tub and heading inside the cabin. The fuck's up with her? That was harsh, and Amber didn't do harsh unless she was pissed off. What the hell did you do? I questioned Brody. He was just as shocked, like he didn't know how to respond to my question. I didn't do anything, he wondered out loud. We grew up with Amber, so I knew she had a little crush on Brody, even though I didn't say that out loud. Now that I think about it, was it possible that something happened between them? Most of the girls are closer to Brody, since he was much more approachable and more friendly compared to me. Okay, I was a dick most of the time, alright, maybe all the time. Now I'm more curious if my sidekick did something about that little crush of hers. You didn't do it, right, Thompson? Brody cleared his throat, head shaking, ears reddening. Shit, he muttered. Fuck, my sister was going to burn them alive if she found out. Her friendship with Amber, I hoped, wouldn't suffer if that day came. She's almost like our sister, man. What the fuck? You're saying that because you have a sister and they grew up with her, but I don't have one. And I sure as hell didn't see your sister like that, he groaned, looking around just to make sure no one was around before he started talking again. We were both drunk and Amber was hella clingy. I knew she always liked me, man, but she was telling me that she was suicidal and needed me to help her feel better. She was cutting. Shit, Thompson. Lindsay's going to flip, man. You do well to back the hell off this second because she won't ever forgive your ass now, not even when you tell her that you did it because you were feeling obligated, or was it more than that? It was only that one time. Phewick, he hissed, getting out of the tub while I leaned against the outside of it, still in my jeans, wondering how the hell he was going to come out of this shithole he'd dug without hurting someone, my sister especially. Where you going? Brody ran his hand over his wet hair, muttering some cuss words. To talk to your sister. I better try to explain myself before she starts thinking I'm just messing with her. Lindsay wasn't a forgiving person. Everyone who knew her knew that. I didn't know why Brody was still willing to try. She's going to bite your head off. I know, he murmured before stomping inside, head down. Me. It's been 3 hours since we arrived and everyone seemed to have the same goal: to get plastered, get laid and pass out. I was on my way to the kitchen when I heard Emma's voice coming out of the hall, screeching. What do you mean? You dragged me here. Now, who do I have to room with? You have to ask Carter and the boys. They're the ones that arranged it, Lindsay responded in a laid-back manner, supposedly trying to calm Emma down. Acting all normal and not at all devious, I strolled into the kitchen with nothing but a pair of jeans on. The second Emma noticed I walked in, I knew she was checking me out. I felt her hungry gaze on me and I wasn't going to lie, her heated stare was turning me on. Oh great man. Emma wants to turn in. Can you show her to her room? Brody asked, slightly on the edge. Guess he was still planning to tell my sister after all. I gave him a nod of understanding. Brody needed my help, and I was more than willing to take Emma away and tuck her into bed. You're ready to sleep? It's still early. My dark gaze landed on the blonde bombshell, my eyes burning holes right inside her, making her hyper-aware that I wanted her. Emma looked perturbed. No. I want to sleep. I'm exhausted. It was a good thing, really. I didn't want her around drunk men. I'd rather have her upstairs sleeping soundly and safely. Okay then. Let me show you to your room. We exited the kitchen, and I climbed up the wooden stairs while Emma followed silently behind me. The cabin was huge, and Emma could have easily gotten lost by the time we got to the second floor. There were 3 wide carpeted hallways that were adorned with black and white abstract paintings, a striking contrast amongst the woodsy theme. I turned to my right before making another turn and straight through the long hallway towards my bedroom. Stopping at the 2 large dark wooden doors, I faced her. My eyes slowly dropped to her lips before looking straight into her eyes. Here you are, Emma, I said, opening the doors and ushering her into a massive room with a fireplace, a king-sized bed, and a large lounge area with a bay window that overlooked the lake. Emma strode in, taking in the room around her. Awe glassed her eyes before she spun around to face me, frowning when she saw me standing in the middle of the room, observing her. Can I have my phone back? She carefully asked. Not tonight, not until you're mine again, I silently vowed, looking at her, loving her from here. Did she know that I was in love with her? Probably not, but tonight wasn't the time to tell her either. Pulling out her phone from my front pocket, I dangled it before me. You mean this? She licked her lips, coveting the sight of her phone a mere reach away. Yes. Can you hand it to me now? No. I'll give this back to you once you set foot back in Santa Barbara. For the time being though, you're phone free. There, that was a decently fucked up deal, but that's all I could offer. If being a dick for a little bit longer was going to help me gain her back, then I was going to do it. The feisty Emma emerged and she launched her anger at me. What the hell is your problem, Carter? I don't get why you're acting like a petulant kid. She made a furious growl before her finger poked my hard, muscled chest. You are being ridiculous. She emphasized each word with more finger pokes on my skin. Hot and sexy, I thought with lust as I watched the fire in her eyes and cheeks, which were reddening from getting riled up. She was about to withdraw that demanding finger of hers when I took hold of it. You ask what my problem is? I leaned forward, closing the gap between us, using my body to my advantage. You're my problem, I huskily uttered. The feel of her almost against me was messing with my groin again. Emma nervously swallowed, looking sexually affected as well. You have to let this go, Carter. Wish away, Emma. Fucking. Wish. Me. Away. It's not over until I say it is. Anger sparked within her. Almost spitting at me, she yelled, well, fuck you. We broke up already. You kicked me out of your house. Did she not remember spewing that lie about getting back with Lewis? Did she not remember how terrible she was when she was telling she didn't want to be with me, but was moaning my name over and over again to fuck her harder? She fucked with my head real good. You wanted out. I didn't. It was my ego talking. We stared at each other, eyes sparring, each of us daring the other to lash out first. When her lip quivered, I unknowingly reached out and caressed her soft cheek with the back of my finger. You're beautiful, Emma. You don't know how lonely I've been without you, I wretchedly admitted. Sadness filled my heart as I recalled the events of the past weeks without her. My eyes immediately darted to her cherry-red lips when her tongue snaked out and wetted it, giving it some luscious moisture. I think you should go. I want to rest, Emma said, breaking my line of thought. I hesitantly dragged my eyes away from her lips and brought my darkened gaze to her vibrant blue one. If you want to, go ahead. You can use the right cabinet to unpack, mine's on the left. I saw the look of horror in her eyes when she realized what I just told her. If she knew me at all, she should have known I was going to play dirty to get her back. I didn't want out then, and I sure as hell didn't want out now. You're sleeping on the couch. I'm not sharing a bed with you, she muttered darkly, almost hissing at me. I may not know her mind well. I may not be that much acquainted with her heart, either. One thing I did know about Emma, though, was how her body reacted when I was around. I had to choose my weapon well, and I was going to exploit it until I broke through to her. It was bad, but she was playing dirty, and I had to do what was best for us. Too bad, I'm sleeping in the bed. Don't worry, I'm not going to touch you if that's what you're worried about, I shot out, shrugging before I strode towards the bathroom for a shower. While in there, I was tempted to a jack-off session, but held off, knowing I wanted the next one to be with her. I hadn't been laid since Emma broke up with me, and I was tight with blue balls in frustration, and needed a release as soon as possible, but I knew I needed to wait because Emma wasn't ready yet. It wasn't that I hadn't had the offers to get a good hand job, head or over-enthused pussies. Hell, I'd had naked women offering themselves to me, but I wasn't even interested in a quick nut. It was bizarre. Carter Mason, not interested in messing around with twins? What the fuck, right? The more I thought of Emma's body, the more it was getting impossible not to touch my hard pole. Grudgingly, I turned off the dial and walked out of the shower. The cold shower sure as hell didn't do jack shit for me. Think of something else other than Emma, man. I hissed at my naked figure in the mirror. How the hell was I going to hide this massive erection? Pulling my sweatpants on, I tried to tuck it in against my stomach, barely concealing the bulge. Guess this will do, I muttered under my breath before walking out of there. I instantly saw Emma by the windows staring out. Bathroom's all ready for you. She spun around, jumpy, before rushing straight to the bathroom like she was being chased by something bad, most likely me. After 10 minutes, Emma came out, dressed in a pair of white cotton shorts and a large soft pink cotton shirt with a huge heart in the middle. I was on my side of the bed, staring at the ceiling, but I could still see her in my peripheral vision as she strolled towards the bed. When she slid between the sheets, she turned off the light and gave a pleasurable sigh the second her head hit the pillow. I counted down from 100 before starting a conversation, but when I heard her deep breathing, I knew she was on her way to a deep slumber. How the heck did she do that? Guess she really was exhausted. Scooting over to her side, almost touching her silky skin but not, I silently whispered a few inches away from her ear, "I've missed you. Good night, baby." My body was tight, and I was fighting off the urge to pull her against my body and kiss her. I really was going crazy if I thought I should wake her up just so I could get laid. Sighing, I rolled onto my back and stared at the ceiling again. From a distance, I could hear chants and a few squeals coming from outside. Glancing back at Emma again, I made sure she was asleep before I left the room and joined the party downstairs. Of seduction. I looked for Brody and Cooper everywhere, but the men weren't around. "Yo, Mason, man. Come out here and join us, bro. Sam from the basketball team hollered. I joined their party, and he immediately handed me a lit-up blunt and a new opened beer. You need to chill, man. What the hell happened to you? You're becoming an old dog. Show us some love, right, girls? He directed at the women lounging and dancing around drunk, with Amanda amongst them. I wasn't even surprised that she was around the wildest bunch out of the 5 different groups around, partying their drunk asses off. Oren, who was on the same team as Sam, ordered a bunch of girls who barely had their clothes on to dance right in the middle of the circle. 30 minutes later, all tops were off, and they only had on their thongs. Stacy, who was Warren's Girl of the Month, had her undies down on her ankles while Warren started fucking her right then and there for everyone to witness. In my horny state, this wasn't the best place for me to be. I jumped out of my seat when a hand glided inside my sweats and gripped my hard cock. Let's go inside. I'll take good care of you, Amanda huskily whispered into my ear, stroking me with vigor. Fuck. Fuck. Mason, think fucker. Emma's upstairs. Fucking get out of here before you lose your shit, and fuck Amanda instead, get the hell out. Grinding my teeth together, it took all the strength in me to pull her hand off my length. Don't touch me again without my permission, Amanda, I hissed at her before getting up in pain, almost limping my way back into the cabin. I sighed with relief when I was almost to my bedroom, but a hand pulled me to the side and into a darkened corner, before sliding my sweats down. That's when I saw Amanda on her knees, sucking me off passionately. She gave a moan the second the head of my dick hit the back of her throat, making it vibrate around my shaft, sending delicious shivers up and down my body. Stop, please stop. I grunted out in vain, meaning the words with all my heart but dubiously not sounding like I did. Amanda deep-throated me, making those nasty slurping sounds that I loved so much. Fuck, stop. I ground it out, trying to pull her off by her hair, but she was relentless. God damn it, Amanda. I hissed at the kneeling woman, pushing on her shoulders with great force. Her mouth instantly unclasping around my length. Stay the fuck away from me. I blew up, screeching at the evilly smiling woman before me, still on her knees, pliable. One day, Carter Mason. One day, I'll get to have you. Go fuck yourself, Amanda. I huffed out, leaving her there before I went inside my bedroom, locking its bolts before calming the fuck down. Hell, I was almost close to coming. I guess I really was a whore, just as Lindsay said. When it came to sex, even if I didn't like the woman, I still ended up getting aroused. Glancing at the sleeping woman who was putting me in great misery, I walked past her and went inside the bathroom, washing Amanda's vile venom off before heading back towards the bed. Leaning against her face, I kissed her lips for a few seconds, studying her closely with affection. Come back to me, baby. God, my chest felt like a massive stone was pressed against it. I was having a hard time breathing. Sinking back on the mattress, I inched closer so that Emma's breath caught my cheek. Her soft breathing calmed my troubled thoughts, lulling me back into her warmth, soothing me to sleep. And back to hell again. I woke up the next day when I felt Emma shift a little bit and gasp sharply. Acting like I was still asleep, I tried to relax my features as much as possible, feeling her heated eyes on me. The temptation to see her checking me out was too enticing not to look. When I finally fluttered my eyes open, Emma was close to my face, gazing at me with tenderness. My lips spread into a very pleased grin while I noticed her cheeks flush in embarrassment. Gee, morning. Emma was disconcerted that I caught her openly staring at me and mumbled her reply, morning. Guess you slept well, huh? You snored, sort of, they were like these tiny little noises coming from you, it was adorable. I stared at you doing that for hours, I think. My eyes twinkled, smiling down at her. I did not, she vehemently denied. Did too. Don't worry, it didn't turn me off, if that's what you're worried about. I thought it was sexy, cute sexy, but still sexy, you know. Shut up, Carter. Emma smacked my face with a small throw pillow. She tried to do it twice more to shut me up, but I was more amused because she was becoming too adorable to handle. When she tried to do it again, I quickly caught her arm and rolled her onto her back, leaving me on top of her hot, soft body. My hardness was a slight push away from directly touching her cloth-covered mound. Our eyes clashed, dark med blue. My body seemed to have a mind of its own because my hips pushed and rolled, grinding our sensitive sexes together. Baby, I grunted out, missing the heat of hers, missing her being like this underneath me. My erection was palpable, hard and hot against her, before she gave out an unadulterated moan. Drowning in Emma's lust-filled gaze, I went further. Can I make love to you? I rasped out. I heard her sharp intake of breath. Emma stared back at me, as if mishearing what I just asked her. At that moment, I didn't even hesitate to go in for the kill. With a thudding heart, I crushed my lips against hers, and a beastly grunt rumbled in my throat when Emma kissed me back feverishly. Our tongues tangled, hungry and persuasive, as I started grinding on her pussy, my hardness pushed against her soaked shorts, hitting her entrance vigorously. Hastily, I took care of her shirt, exposing those creamy, dusky, pink-tipped breasts before my large, roughened hands greedily kneaded them, playing with her nipples as I went along. Carter, she hissed when I playfully bit into her nipple, using the tip of my tongue to flick over the pebbled bud. Her legs quivered as I pushed myself against her pelvis some more, but this time, I pulled my sweats down to free my shaft before continuing to grind against her soaked pussy, wishing her shorts weren't in the way. Emma let out a husky moan, bringing me to pre-cum on her shorts before I slowly pulled back, allowing my hand to slide inside her shorts, pushing them aside so her beautiful pink sex was exposed to me. Using the back of my fingers, I stroked the outer part of her wet folds. My eyes took in her beauty, watching in awe as she lifted her torso off the bed, pushing her gorgeous boobs in the air before my mouth took them in, sucking and biting. My hand toyed with one and I used my teeth and tongue on the other, while my other hand was busy on her clit. Emma screeched my name, bucking. Carter. By then my fingers were pushing inside her silken labia, rubbing against her nub. I let out a purring growl when she raked her nails through my hair before pulling my head down, our lips meeting for a passionate kiss. Our tongues fought while my fingers continued to ambush her sweet mound. Using 2 fingers, I slid into her moist channel, fingering her, groaning when her muscles clamped down on my digits. Hitting her spot, I fervently rubbed it, my eyes gazing adoringly at my woman who was a few seconds away from coming on my fingers. Exquisite, I murmured, voice potent with lust and laced with love. Emma stilled, blinking a few times before calling a halt to our activity. Stop. We have to stop. I stilled, inches away from her beautiful face, eyes searching hers for answers, all the while my fingers were curled and lodged into her core. You're not serious? I'm so fucking hard, Em. I'm ready to combust here, and you want to stop. What the fuck? I don't find this funny. Well, I don't either. Can you please take your fingers out of me? She spat back, glaring at me. I hadn't moved, my fingers were still in the same location they were in a few seconds ago. I wondered how the hell I was going to survive another day without having with her in my arms, but I could compromise. I could do that. Fine, I will stop, after you come apart on my fingers. No. Emma easily denied me, when just a little over a minute ago she was writhing and moaning from my lips and touch. Maybe because I was blue-balled again, or maybe I was just plain angry and wanted to prove something to Emma, I don't really know for sure, but I wasn't going to back the fuck down. Determined to prove her wrong, my 2 fingers stroked her and I latched my thumb on her sweet button, unleashing the horny woman within. Emma instantaneously thrashed and whimpered from my relentless onslaught. Look at me. I commanded, fingers and thumb not stopping so they could end her sweet agony. She sobbed, moaning and panting my name in exaltation. Climbing higher, reaching higher, for the ultimate quaking nirvana. My eyes searched hers, but she was apparently having a hard time focusing as my assaulting fingers twirled and slid in and out of her soaked cunny. Look. At. Me. Emma. Carter, she whimpered, following my order. Emma fucking loved how I fingered her. She had gotten off with my fingers alone 3 times before I took her. So I knew that she was just right there, and I wanted her to have her release, so I could just watch her come apart, showing me her true beauty without her guard up and hateful words. Don't hold it back. Just let go. I want to feel your juices gush like a broken dam on my fingers. Emma growled as she pushed against my fingers, urging me on to dominate her pussy. I shaped my fingers like a hook so that it was a direct hit on her G-spot, thumb on her nub. With my left hand, I splayed over her abdomen, pressing it down against the mattress so her hips would be immovable from my assault. The second I started rubbing and flicking with purpose, Emma was completely out of her mind with need. Look at me. I hissed out when I felt her vaginal muscles contract, about to let go. Beautiful, I murmured as my eyes gathered the quaking body before me, orgasm rippling in waves as she spasmed and shook with its brutal waves. My Emma was biting her lip, eyes closed as she whimpered from its after effects, before she finally opened her eyes, blinking in wonderment. I was beaming down at her, daring and elated. Shall we see how you taste this morning? I asked before I slid my fingers out of her vagina and immediately inserted them into my mouth, licking. Watching her shocking expression, I deviously sucked her juices off my fingers without tearing my eyes off her. You still taste like heaven, Emma. And I wanted more, but I doubted she would be compliant. Speechless, Emma opened her mouth before shutting it again. Then she sat up and glared at my grinning face. You shouldn't have done that. Yeah, right, woman. You certainly loved it. Why not? You loved every second of it. If I really wanted to take you, I could have done it with ease, but I didn't. Look at my cock, it's still hard. Want to give it a go? I promised to make you come a few more times. I was being an arrogant prick, but I was a little pissed that she treated me like this after I gave her a good orgasm. Even though she was reluctant about it in the beginning, it was obvious how much she enjoyed it. Our sheets were beyond soaked in the middle. Fuck you, Carter. Still grinning, well, that was the idea, baby. Ah. You're hopeless. I don't even know why or how I tolerated your absurdity for the last few months, she exclaimed, and made a move to get out of bed. I suddenly felt like a major prick and reached to pull her back towards me, causing her to land on her back. Hovering on top of her goosebumped flesh, I spoke, Don't leave. Stay. I'm sorry, but I can't. I have to move on. Emma shut me down completely before pushing herself away from me and scrambling to her feet. She was heading towards the bathroom but stopped midway. Oh, by the way, thanks for the orgasm. She gave me a fuck-off smile, then shut the door with a loud thud. I sat there for a few minutes, wondering if I had lost my mind completely to a woman who I should have given up already. It was a good thing that I didn't tell her that I loved her. I wasn't sure if I could handle her scathing laugh of mockery if I did confess my true feelings for her. Was it too late to salvage my relationship with Emma? Seemed like it. Disappointment cloaked over me as I slid off the bed, headed towards the closet, and looked for something to wear. Fishing, maybe that would help, I thought, thinking back of my father. He always told me that nature would always have a way to heal and balm our souls. Now, more than ever, I needed to clear my head and make a decision about Emma, once and for all. Stripping bare. When Cece decided to hop on board and join Brody and me to fish, I cussed her out. What the fuck do you think you're doing? Not interested to fuck you, Cece. Get out of the boat 'cause you're not invited, and you sure as hell are not welcome either. Whatever, big brother. Like that would work, I'm not leaving. So calm your ass down. I just want to hang out with the guys I grew up with. Is that so bad? I'll be good, promise. She batted her lashes at me, trying to side with my good graces, but there were none. Emma had pushed me over the edge, and I needed some time alone to think, and Cece shoving her big jugs in my face, giggling like a harebrained idiot, didn't help. Get the fuck off my boat before I throw you into the water. I threatened, but she merely pouted and turned on Brody for help. B. Carter's being a dick. Will you help me out? She asked for Brody's help. She nicknamed him B back when we were kids, and she had hung on to that ever since. I threw them both a murderous glare before Brody spoke up. You can stay as long as you promise not to be a bother. I can't help you if Carter decides to throw you overboard though, so you better behave, CE. Nice one, Brody. He just made himself look like the good guy, even if he was also being a complete jackass. Deal, she purred before positioning herself in one of the cushioned seats on my side of the boat. I muttered under my breath before I left the two to start the engine and take us deeper into the lake, before mooring somewhere quiet and serene. 2 hours and 8 beers later, I was feeling pretty good. I was on my way inside the cabin to fetch more cold beer, when Cece came up behind me as I bent over the open fridge. Fuck, what do you want now? I know about you and Amanda, she whispered into my ear before giggling. Stilling, I shoved the fridge door shut before facing her. What the hell did she tell you? I'm not telling, Carter. That would not be nice of me if I did, Cece coyly said, acting like a good person. Too bad, because even in acting, she sucked at it. I didn't fuck her if that's what she's spreading. Still not telling, unless you give me something in return, she spoke with innuendo. I was not even sure how to respond, because Amanda just infuriated me at the moment. What do you want now, Cece? Aren't you tired of acting like a complete bitch all the time? I will if you start dating me, Carter. I'm still in love with you. Her dark eyes looked teary even. How many times have we had this discussion over the years? 10. 20. Heck, I lost count. The answer is still the same. I'm still not giving up. You're young and you're enjoying different women. I don't mind that, but back to the subject, she stuck out her tongue and took my finger, gently sucking it. I want to fuck you here, now, and I promise not to tell that dumbass Emma that you had Amanda on her knees sucking you off last night. You wouldn't fucking dare. You know I would, baby. When it comes to you, all bets are off. Unless, of course, you want Emma to be with that fine specimen named Bass Cole. You know I wouldn't trade you up for a man like Bass. Sure, he's gorgeous and sexy, but I'm loyal to my heart, and that's you, Carter. She took my finger and circled the outline of her nipple over her braless shirt, before sliding it down her skirt and sticking my finger into her hot cunt. I was unmoving while I contemplated the odds in my head. What's it to be, she whispered, fuckable? No, I declined her barter of sorts, even though I was hard, yeah, quite pathetic really, because I didn't want to be, but my dick had its own brain apparently. At least my mouth was telling the truth. Give and take, Carter. Cece handed me a packet of condoms from out of nowhere, as if not hearing what I just spat at her. If that woman really is worth it, then you do me. Besides, it's not like you guys are together, and from what I've heard, she's been fucking Bass already. Just because I took your virginity doesn't mean I like you, at all, Cece. You were an available cunt, and I just wanted to fuck, so I fucked you. There's nothing between us. We didn't share anything other than sex. Sure, I called you for some quickies here and there, again it was for sex. Drill that through your brain. We're not through yet, Carter. She hissed out, stomping on her way out. Shit, that was a close call. Fucking temptation wasn't giving me a break. I hadn't decided if I was ready to move on from Emma yet, so in the meantime, I wasn't going to do anything drastic. I'd engage in sexual activities the moment I did decide that I wasn't going to hang around. I wasn't particularly hiding, but I took to staying in the shadows so as not to be seen by Emma. When Lindsay decided to get plastered and brought Emma with her on the road to drunkendom, I had to keep an eye on her before she did something that would put her in harm's way. 2 hours later, they were buzzing after shot of hard liquor, burning its way into their system. I looked away when I saw Lindsay grab Brody out of nowhere and started making out with him. Great, I muttered disgustingly before walking out the front door. I stood on the porch, more confused than the day before. Since it was a little dark out here, it was easy to see the light coming out of my white surfer shorts. Pulling it out, I saw Bass Cole's name flashing on the screen. How many times did this son of a bitch call? I wondered after his name stopped flashing while I tried to unlock Emma's phone. I was still trying to unlock her phone when the dick called again, making me tap on the answer button. Since I was already a prime asshole in Emma's eyes, what's the harm in adding more scorn? How can I help you, Mr. Hollywood star? It was followed with the infamous silence when a guy realizes that another man answered the call, unexpectedly. Carter, Bass gritted out. Guess he didn't like how I greeted him, hey? I mused, tickled pink. Is Emma available? He tried to sound normal, but I wasn't fooled. A player can tell another player. Bass, in a way, was like me. We had tempers and were possessive towards our women. It was just unfortunate that he was stepping on my territory and shitting on it. She's busy getting drunk with my sister, but I can take a message. I'm sure I'll remember to tell her when we're in bed tonight. After throwing that out, I cut off the call and went back inside. My blood skyrocketed when I took in the party scene before me. Get your tight ass up here, Emma. Lindsay and Trista tried to gather Emma up with them atop the bar, Coyote Ugly style. I sprinted towards them so fast, I felt exhilarated when I tried to pull Emma down. Don't you dare get your drunken ass up there, Emma. I bellowed, but something caught her eyes before it went straight to my pocket. Bass cold calling. Son of a bitch. Couldn't he leave us alone? I thought, before Emma lunged towards me and attempted to dig the phone out of my pocket. Give me that, she ordered, but I was too strong for her, and without effort, I pulled her hand out before she even got close to the device. This day was purely made from hell. I wanted to scream. Here I was trying to win my woman back, but she was fighting me off like a mad hatter. On top of that, I had two women who were relentlessly chasing me for sex. Shit. Didn't I make myself clear that you don't get to have it back until we hit Santa Barbara again? Emma threw me her two middle fingers. Fuck. You. Why don't you go stick this up your idiotic ass and spin on it? I was simmering in the background while I watched Trista and Emma bump their butts together, while the drunk guys gathered around the bar, taking videos and hollering. Lindsay was getting all hyped up. I muttered a thankful prayer when I saw her hop off the bar and hunt for some water. Plucking a bottle off the iced beverages, she stepped outside towards the backyard, walking at a short pace, enjoying the scenery that surrounded her. I could hear her take a deep breath, inhaling the earthy smell of pine and crisp air. Emma strolled along until she hit a stream, leaning over against a pine tree as she idly stared at the flowing water, listening to the calming sound it produced. She let out a melancholy sigh that tugged on my heart. I was about 10 feet away from her, contemplating what to do next. After tomorrow we were heading home, and by then, my chances were slim. With Bass hot on her heels, my time was running out. If I didn't take this opportunity now, I'd be risking more. Decision made, I slowly walked towards her form, snapping a twig on my way, making her jump in surprise. Emma. She sighed again, as if exhausted at the sight of me. What do you want, Carter? Are you giving me my phone back? If you came here to be an ass again, then I suggest you go back before I pummel your body into the ground, she threatened, losing her temper. Now it was my turn to sigh while I raked a hand through my hair, frustrated, all out of options. It was now or never, Mason. Em, I know I've been such a jerk to you over the last week. It's just, that's how I was used to reacting to things, and I don't like changing what is normal to me, but this past week has been pure hell. I really want you back in my life. I came closer to her, pained and unsure as I stared at her with potent burning emotion, desperation. I'm sorry. Please, please forgive me. I begged, reaching out to her, but she quickly moved to the side, not wanting me to touch her at all. Not even heartfelt words punctured through her hatred for me. You're sorry? For the last week, you've been acting like a little boy who wanted his old toy back. Well, that's just it, Carter. I told you I was done with you. I am done with our half-ass kind of relationship. I want more than sex. I want commitment, I want it all. You're not that man, you have some kind of phobia when it comes to commitment. So please just walk away and stop pursuing me. She wanted it all? Well, I would become that man. Fuck, I'd be whatever she wanted me to be, if it made her happy. Moving a little closer before I decided to speak, sounding decisive and unwavering. I could be that man and I will, for you I will, Em. Just give me a chance. Promises. Here we go again. Save your promises for another woman who would die to hear them from you. I am not that woman, Carter, not anymore. It's best you get that drilled into your head, Emma spat with venom, eyes enraged before she hugged herself and started to walk away from me and back to the cabin. No. Don't leave me. Think, Carter. When she was halfway through the clearing, I summoned all that was in me and yelled at the top of my lungs, I love you. I choked up, abundant with tortured pain at my blatant admission. She wanted it all, so here it was, my all. My love. My confession. Emma halted, frozen, unmoving. I watched, feeling the dread in my body, knowing that it was already too late, but when she started to run towards me, hope sprung free. That feeling lasted only for a few seconds, until I registered the feral, wild look in her eyes. She was furious. Don't you fucking dare use love in this, Carter. We both know you don't do love. You don't get to use that as a fucking weapon, she roared at my face, disgusted. Her reaction gnawed deeper into my fears, while I stared at her, horrified and mystified that she didn't even believe it when I told her that I loved her. This was the first time I've ever told a woman that I was in love with them, and her rejection of my feelings, again, slashed into me, successfully making me feel like I wasn't worthy of receiving any love from the people who I cherished most. My mother and then later, my father. Even Lindsay's feelings were questionable, but most of all, Emma's rejection was 100 times more potent than the rest of them. This was why I didn't do love, because feeling this odd sense of helplessness and hopelessness was too familiar for me. The sinking feeling kept pulling me down, making me breathe raggedly, before I painfully gazed at Emma, not willing to give her up yet. Emma, please. Blue bright orbs searched my depths, silent and retreating. Defeated, I sunk to my knees, breathing deeply before bowing my head, gathering strength. Looking up, I penetrated her pained eyes. I love you, Emma. I've loved you ever since the first night you spent in my arms. I've been in love with you all this time, but I never had the courage or strength to tell you how I felt because I was a coward, but being a coward made me lose you, and now I'm trying to brave it out for you, face my demons because of my love for you and you alone. My voice wobbled. I feel like half a person without you, Em. I can't function. I need you back, I want you back because I honestly love you. She gasped, eyes wide in disbelief before shaking her head in denial. But I wasn't done, not by a long shot. My father used to be so in love with my mom, to the point where nothing made sense to him unless my mother was around, close to him. My mom was his obsession, his drug. But even with his obsessive adoration, my mom cheated on him. One night she came home and told my father that she was pregnant, and the father was her personal trainer. She was going to move in with him. My dad, he was distraught. Even then he begged my mom not to leave him. He even went on and promised to love the child she was carrying as his own, because he loved everything about her, and if the baby was part of the bargain, he'd take it in a heartbeat. Lindsay was too young to understand what was going on. But I did. I saw what love could do to a man. It weakens you, and it makes a fool out of you. The same night of her revelation, my mom left us. My father, fool that he was, followed her out in a separate car. Mom ended up crashing her car against a broken truck on the side of the road. I guess Dad was following closely behind her because his car followed suit. I'm not sure if it happened because he didn't have much time to maneuver, or if he did it on purpose so that he could follow Mom, because he couldn't live without her. You see, Emma, love doesn't come easy for me. It was the one thing I promised myself not to do. I didn't want to follow in my father's footsteps. I wanted to hide it from you, for as long as I could, but you left me no choice. When I told you I love you, it's because I honestly do. Emma had tears in her eyes before she whispered, "Get up, please." "No." I shook my head in response. "No, not until you take me back." If I had to go all out this one time, I was going to fucking do it. Humiliation and pride can take a back seat because I was going to win her back. The rest could go to hell. Evident emotions flickered through her pretty face before she gave me a small nod. "Fine, I'm taking you back, as long as you promise that you will try very hard to make this work. I'm giving you this one chance, Carter, don't fuck it up." Hold up. Did I hear that correctly? What did you say, Em? I asked, but with a smile lighting my face. She made a small laugh before rolling her eyes at me. "Ah, now you're just driving me nuts," she complained, holding her hand out for me to grab onto. I took her by surprise when I decided to pull her down with me. She let out a loud squeal, and I started to tickle her to death. Bubble after bubble of happiness made me feel light-headed, dizzy. Rolling her onto her back against the ground while I was atop her, we gazed at each other, faces inches apart before I spoke with delirious joy. "I love you, Emma, and I promise to be loyal to you and you alone. I will give my all to make you happy." She reached out and linked her arms around my neck, looking at me anew. Her gaze loving, caressing before she whispered, "I love you too, Carter Mason." Emma said the words. I could jump for joy and howl into the night. I would have, but I didn't want to untangle myself off my woman. Thank the fucking gods. 'Cause if you didn't, I wasn't going to let you leave the cabin until you told me that you did. She merely laughed at me before guiding my head to meet hers. Our lips finally touched, slowly kissing, before it got intense and went all-out passionate. My Emma. For days I was hungry for her, but now, I was past annihilation. I was out to conquer this indecisive woman, who was moaning her surrender to me. My hand possessively captured the side of her cheek as I voraciously fed my appetite with hot, lingering kisses. With my hard body on top of hers, my hand reached inside of her sweater, pushing the bra aside to caress her breasts and pinch her nipple. Her immediate reaction made me go crazy. I loved her, but I also loved how responsive she was with my lovemaking. "Emma. I love how you come apart in my arms." Hastily I took care of her leggings, not caring that we're out in the woods, not caring that someone could see us. All that mattered right now was Emma and me, making this beautiful thing blossom, needing to seal our love with our bodies. Praising each other. Pleasing one another. Cherishing this new union we had. The chilly night didn't hinder our urgent need to be together. The need to sink into her wetness and lose myself in her was all I could think about. Her thong was flung in the air while Emma watched me take my shorts off with no shyness or inhibition. I was naked, looking down on her with the moonlight as my backdrop, while I burned my gaze into her. The smell of the earth and the eerie stilled silence released something savage in me. Without another word, I annihilated her lips, spreading her legs to the farthest they could go, before I harshly plunged into her with one hard thrust. Emma gasped as my huge cock filled her hot and demanding while I closed my eyes and throbbed inside her womb, loving the feel of her walls squeezing my dick, hard, ready and willing to milk it to the very last drop. "You're worth the wait, Emma." I punctuated each word with a rough thrust, inching more into her, possessing her with all that I was. The heat inside her channel intensified, the slickness abundant as I started to pound her tightness. "Give me more, Carter. Give it to me harder," she rasped out. In lust and out of her mind, she was only focusing on what my cock was doing to her, and how much pleasure it was giving her. I was going to shower her with that, since my stamina had been reawakened by the owner of my heart. Her left hand roughly cupped my ass cheek, pushing and pressing it against her, giving me all the access I needed, stretching and filling her to capacity. "Your nice little pussy is fucking heaven, baby," I gritted out, losing myself inside her fantastic womanhood. Emma held tight to my ass, keeping it in place, while I continued to shove it deeper. We panted and mated like we were dying, and couldn't live without each other. Holding her hips, my manhood still jammed inside her, I shifted us to a sitting position with her on top. Emma purred, throwing her head back when her pussy slowly sunk onto my cock. Linking her arms around my neck, kissing me as she slowly found ground, she rode me hard with urgency and greed. Take everything that you want from me, baby. Ride me harder, give me your all. Give me that nice juicy pussy, again and again. I wanted to eat my cock whole. Ride me harder, baby, I panted out, groaning when she became frenzied and rode me the way I wanted her to ride me, clutching at my shoulders while I could feel her gripping my shaft until the blood flow stopped, releasing it from the death grip and doing it over and over again until her release finally unleashed through her with a whiplash. My lips sought her neck, bit into it, synchronizing with her orgasm, shattering her into pieces. Carter. Emma choked out, shaking and whimpering while I fucked her harder, seeking my own release. She moaned my name as I took charge of my hips and lifted her, up and down, sliding in and out of her with my hard length as I prepared for my own release. Fuck, baby. You're the best fuck. I passionately grunted out before my engorged head expanded and released rope after rope of white-hot cum into her. That was definitely worth the wait. No woman could make me lose it this way, I thought as I looked into Emma's eyes, swelling with love before I planted sweet kisses around her face. I love you, Emma. We kissed, my cock still hard and ready for another round, but I didn't want to push her. For now, I was just happy to kiss her. This is crazy. I can't believe we did this out here. She grinned, rocking her hips on my shaft, teasing me. Sorry, I couldn't control myself. I was dying and needed to have you as soon as possible. There's no one else but you, Emma, I uttered with sincerity, stroking her flushed cheek. Thank you for giving me this chance again, Em. I will make you very happy. She smiled, kissing me again, riding me unhurriedly. You're still on the pill, right? I inquired in between kisses. She raised a brow in question. Yeah, why? Like she didn't know me, smiling wickedly before devouring her with my kiss. Tonight's going to be a long night. I'm going to make love to you over and over again until the sun comes up. A stud's promise? She cheekily asked as I gave her a wink, teasing her with a few promising thrusts before lifting her off me. She complained, wanting to go for another, but I wanted to take her on the bed, not here. It's only the beginning, you'll see, I said as we got dressed and then strolled back to the cabin to join the crowd. There you guys are. Amanda announced in front of everyone. Where have you been, Carter? I've been looking all over for you. She pouted as she traced the outline of my neckline. I was about to smack her hand away, but surprise caught me when my baby did it herself. Even better, I thought with satisfaction. Are you blind, Amanda? Emma asked the relentless bitch, ready to fight for her man. I loved how possessive she was. So even though the urge to push Amanda off was appealing, I admit, watching Emma go crazy and territorial was hot and a mad turn-on. She loved me, I knew, but it was different when you see it all in action. Men were more of a show us instead of telling us. Hello. Of course not. I can't be this hot and be blind, duh. Why do you like this boring so plain woman, Carter? She's just plain like vanilla. Who likes vanilla anyway? No one. The bitch smirked at Emma. Yeah, I am boring compared to you, so what? Carter wants the vanilla me and not your flavorful swirls. Get over it. Something flashed in Amanda's eyes. She was in full catty mode. He likes my swirls. Trust me, Carter Mason loves swirls. Amanda looked at me through her lashes as she stuck her tongue out and traced her lips. Shit, fucking bitch was going to get me in trouble. Hell no. That's enough from you, Amanda. Emma and I are back together now, and I'm not interested. Stop following me around and find someone else to sink your claws into. Amanda huffed and spoke before she walked off. You're going to miss me, Carter. I can't wait till you come knocking on my door. Delusional woman, I thought with hate. Let's go back to our room, I urged when Emma became all silent, making me all paranoid again. Once inside the confines of our bedroom, I strolled towards the bay windows and looked out at the glittery lake. We had to get this out before we move forward. I just hoped that Emma wouldn't be mad at me. She gave me head once. Well, I guess half a head since I didn't let her finish. It was that same night you went off on a date with Base Cole when I caught you guys at the apartment. The other night didn't really count because I didn't let her do it, while the first time in her house, I was almost thrusting my hips into her mouth. Did you do anything else with her? Or with anyone else for that matter? She asked, voice slightly shaky. I shook my head. No, I wanted to. I mean, I tried to, but I couldn't get you out of my head, Em. Good to know. She smiled, walking towards the bed and sat down. The question I had, I wasn't sure how to handle the answer, but I pushed through because I wanted this second chance with my girl. Joining her on the bed, I rushed out. Did you have sex with Base? Did you kiss him? No, we didn't go that far. He kissed my neck though, if you must know. Thank you. Pulling her onto my lap, I kissed her, then decided to double-check again. Are you telling me the truth? You really didn't have sex with him? 'Cause everyone was saying you did, and that magazine insinuated you did. No, nothing happened. We just hung out and talked a lot. Base is a great guy. He was respectful and treated me with the utmost care. That was music to my ears. Good, because if he didn't, I would have just loved to knock that arrogant son of a bitch out. Emma gently smacked my shoulder. Oh, shut up, Carter. You're not punching anyone. Don't you doubt it, because I will hurt anyone that tries to hurt you, Emma. I was gazing down on her, shining with love, before she looked up with all seriousness on her face. There's only one thing I ask of you. Don't hurt me, Carter. Never, I vowed, sealing it with a kiss. Not going to happen. Why don't we go downstairs and join the rest of our friends? We're leaving tomorrow after all. Emma declined, shaking her head. You go right ahead. I want to shower and catch up on some reading. Whoa, she was amazing. You're sure? I can stay with you if you want. She pinched my cheek, delighted. I am sure. Soccer just ended and you guys had a tremendous season. You need to party with your team. You're the best, Em. I'll be back in a couple hours. I stood up and pulled her phone out of my pocket. Here. I don't need to hold your phone hostage to get your attention. I love you. I then kissed her and headed towards the door. I halted when Emma called out when I was almost out the door. You better be on your best behavior, Carter Mason, because the minute you touch another woman, you'll be dead to me. Never, my love. I blew her a kiss and swiftly closed the door behind me. What did you just say? After learning that she was going to meet Base tonight, earlier this afternoon, I wasn't all happy about it. Deep down, I knew she needed to end her connection with him because, whether I liked it or not, Emma went out with him and built a relationship. She chose me over him, that was proof enough. Reluctantly, I let her see him. I was overjoyed when I got a call from her, a couple hours later. Carter, hey, Emma greeted me, a little breathy. Are you on your way home, babe? Is it going to be my place or yours tonight? I happily asked, conjuring up stuff to do once she came back. I'm driving to see my parents tonight. My aunt is visiting, and I want to visit with her and my baby cousin, Emma countered, squashing my hopes to see her tonight. Well, there's always tomorrow, I guess. Oh. Sure, no prob. I want to take you out to dinner. Yeah, that would be nice. I'll see you tomorrow, Carter. I was baffled when she started using my name in a formal tone, but I let it slide because she was probably just stressed out. Love you, Emma. Yeah, me too, she murmured before cutting the call. Guess it was just me tonight. I sighed. Leaving my room, I strode inside the kitchen, looking for a takeout menu. Chinese, I could do with some pig-out food tonight. Over yet? I woke the next day with a text from Emma, thinking it odd as I read it with sleepy eyes. Emma, hey. I just got back in town. Can you come over? Of course I can, why even ask? I sleepily mused, typing my reply as I let out another yawn. Me, be there soon, babe. 20 minutes later, fresh out of shower, I left for her dorm. I didn't even bother knocking since I already had a key, and she was already expecting me. Inside their place, I strolled towards her bedroom and made an effort to knock this time before opening the door. Em? I'm in here, she called out from on top of her bed with a smile that seemed like it took a lot of effort. Striding immediately towards her, I was grinning mad. I missed you. That instant, high of seeing her, inevitably rocketed down so quickly the second she opened her mouth again. I need to tell you something important, she started cautiously, eyeing me, observing my reaction. Ah hell. Nothing came out good with sentences that started like that. Worried was putting it mildly, but I was hanging on for dear life while I tried to figure out the devastation she was going to reveal to me. What's it about? I whispered, staring at her, apprehensive. She licked her lips, looking like a broken girl before me. Something happened with Base last night, she started, and I lurched to my feet the second those words had barely left her lips and started pacing around her room. No, not my Emma. Was it possible that she'd sleep with Base after we just got back together? Could she inflict this kind of pain on me? Was she even capable? Define happened, Emma. You had sex with him, is that it? She needed to emphasize shit, before I lose my bearings here and drive to LA to kill that cocky fucker. No. I stayed with him last night, nothing really happened except his hand lingering a bit longer on certain areas. The way her voice trembled when she said certain areas only left a few choices: ass, pussy and breasts. Which was it? Fucking shit, man. This was bad. My head pounded along with my heart, making me stop pacing and sat back down again. I couldn't even mask the hurt in me. It was just too much. I felt like Emma had gutted me with a blunt knife. Bass didn't fuck you. She looked down, shaking her head. No, it wasn't like that, she murmured, not meeting my eyes. Okay, this was at least good news, but what the fuck really happened? I screamed in my head. Oral? What? Running both of my hands through my hair, I tightly gripped the strands, wanting to feel pain. I'm hurt that you lied about going to sleep at your parents' house, Em. How could you do this? We just barely got back together. Emma looked so confused, wondering herself about what was going on. Maybe it's because we got back together too quickly? Maybe I didn't see it coming, and I'm still trying to place my feelings in order? I met Base right after you. I got to spend time with him, Carter. Somehow, someway, he got through to me. This was not something I wanted to hear. Emotional ties were a bitch to cut, and Emma had that with Bass without the sex. Not a fucking good sign. I groaned, trying to figure things out in my head and at the same time seeking the strength to act cool. Base got through to her. What the hell did that mean? That she decided to be with him instead. The thought turned me cold, killing me outright. So you're back with him? You wanted me to drop by today because you're breaking it off? I can't believe this. I'm not with Bass. Last night was a one-time thing. I don't think I will be hearing from him again. She was talking while I dropped on my back against the mattress, hands covering my face, praying to calm my ass down. I was hurting. I wasn't expecting this when I woke up, smiling that I got a text from her. Emma reached out, her soft caress made me shiver, breaking me. Carter, I didn't mean to lead you on or anything. I meant it when I said I loved you. It's just that I'm as confused as ever. I didn't mean for us to end this way. I honestly didn't. I huffed out a lungful of air and sat up, looking directly at her, somehow understanding her dilemma. It was my fault that Emma and I started the way we did. I suppose it was normal for a woman to become attached to the guy they spent a lot of time hanging out with. We got back together less than 2 days ago. Being confused was expected. I don't want to break up with you, Em. I hate what you did, but I don't think I can survive without you again. I had a taste of that, and I sure as hell don't want you to go back to that man. Take as much time as you need to figure things out in your head, I'll still want to be with you. I love you, and as badly as I want to think that you're perfect, you're human, and by nature you're going to make mistakes. You still want me after what I did? Emma stared at me, flabbergasted. Hell, I was proud of myself for acting like a reasonable man. It wasn't easy. It all really boiled down to whether I wanted to be with her or not. It wasn't even a question, it was a given on my part. I love you, Em, I croaked, softly touching the side of her face. We'll be okay. We're just hitting some rough patches because I totally messed up before by not taking my time with you. We started out with sex and nothing more because it was what I could offer then, but now that we've cleared that up, we can start anew. At this point in time, anything was possible. Hell, I hadn't even thought I could love a woman, but here I was, falling leaps into it. Knowing the jealous, crazy man in me, I was surprised again that I could easily forgive Emma's minor act of betrayal. I was just relieved that nothing happened, kissing, fingering, fucking, or otherwise. If that weren't the case, I wasn't so sure that I could act all forgiving. Maybe you're right. We can start fresh from here on, Emma agreed, hopeful. A fresh start, it was definitely what we needed. A few weeks later. Every year, ever since we were in 7th grade, it was a tradition for us to throw a Halloween party. I guess you could chalk that up to us men, trying to goof around and act all silly without being judged too much. I was a Jack Sparrow aficionado, and I had waited all year, hell yeah I did, to dress up as his character and use crazy amounts of eyeliner on both lids, but what took the cake were the funky teeth and the string of braided hair that moved about as I talked. So with enough persuasion, more like bargaining to do whatever she wanted, I finally convinced Emma to match me. We would be Jack Sparrow and Elizabeth Swann from Pirates of the Caribbean. We smiled like idiots when we checked each other out. Emma's dress was on the sexy side, showing off her cute belly button. Her eyes shone like blue topaz as she sauntered towards me. "My, can I be your captive, Captain Jack?" I bent over and planted a chaste kiss on her glossed lips, showing her my epic toothy pirate smile. Anything for my Miss Swan. The party was wild and crazy, and I expected nothing less. Hell, Halloween was my favorite holiday. It was worth the money and good fun. My girl and I were stuck together like glue, dancing and laughing, whilst making out like teenagers like no one's business. I was happy, and by the looks of it, Emma was happy with me. The nagging thoughts of base coal were gone, and so was the man himself because he was out in Canada filming. I was more than grateful that the bastard was an actor then. When Thanksgiving rolled in, we spent it with Emma's family. Apparently, I was the second guy she brought home to meet them. Growing up, adults and their opinions weren't something I took notice of, but knowing these were Emma's parents, the need to impress them was top priority. Was I nervous? Fuck yeah. I was sweating bullets, especially when her father was being a total tool towards me. It was understandable coming from a parent, but from the boyfriend of the daughter's point of view, not so much. When Emma's father Seth cleared his throat, as if to warn everyone that the grilling was about to start, I immediately tensed, trying not to get intimidated. "Tell me, Carter, how many women have you had sex with?" Seth asked in a serious manner during dinner, as he carelessly popped a carrot into his mouth and chewed it leisurely. Of course, the entire table became silent. All eyes were on me. Shit, man. Total. Big. Shit. The question was baffling, but what got me in hooks was that I didn't know what my number was. I stopped counting after I hit the triple digits. How long ago was that? I wondered nervously. Maybe a couple years back, but I always wore protection and got myself checked annually. So while I was being a man-whore, I at least was a responsible one. Emma's mother warned her husband to play nice, but to no avail. Seth stood his ground while he waited for me to respond, eyeing me like I was a poisonous snake. "Dad, can you at least act civilized?" "You're being too invasive," Emma hissed at him while I just sat there turning red. How cute and embarrassing was this? At least my Emma tried to help me out. Clearing my throat, I aimed to best answer him in the truest possible answer I could give him. "I can honestly tell you, sir, that I do not know the answer to that question, but what I can tell you with great frankness and confidence is that since Emma came into my life, I couldn't imagine being with anyone else. If you had asked me how many women I have loved in my life, it wouldn't have taken me long to answer. I have only ever loved one, and that is your daughter." Everyone, including Emma, fell silent. As the seconds ticked by, I was getting agitated. After a minute of silence, Emma's father beamed at me with approval. "It's ironic." I gave Emma's grandfather a similar answer when he asked me the same question. "You are welcome in our home, as long as you treat my only daughter well. Don't make me regret this, Carter." Few parents. They were going to be great to get to know, but a pain most of the time. For Emma, I'd do anything to make her happy. "Thank you, sir. I promise that I won't." It was awesome because right after I uttered the last word, I was welcomed into her family and was in her father's good graces. I immediately accepted their invitation to spend Christmas Eve with them. Emma and I were making new memories together, and I couldn't be happier. After the 45-minute drive from Ojai to Santa Barbara, we were back in my house, changing and getting ready for bed. Contentment settled over me as I gathered Emma into my arms and started kissing her, just wanting to be close to her. Tonight was a success, and I was happy that I was getting to know more about Emma. "Carter?" she asked, breaking off our kiss. I pulled back, waiting on her to reveal what her loaded question would be. It was the way she spoke my name in a question that had bells ringing in my ears. Call it gut, instincts, whatever, but it was making me edgy. "I have to tell you something important, something that I'm really excited about. I want you to have an open mind and let me finish talking before you say anything, okay?" Open mind? Let's see how pliable mine could be after, I thought before nodding my head for her to go on. "I got chosen to be the lead actress of a movie alongside Bass. It won't start filming until May in Greece. I'm not sure if I've ever told you, but I used to be in drama in high school, and I loved it. I still love it. This unbelievable opportunity could start my career if everything turns out well." Emma rushed out, as if out of breath, nervous about having kept this a secret. Okay, I get that she needed to keep this in for a while because, hell, this was a big deal, and knowing Emma, she probably needed to come to terms with it first before telling me, so it wasn't a big deal. The problem was Bass. Letting go of Emma, I rolled onto my back and stared at the ceiling, deep in thought. After a few seconds of me not muttering anything, Emma touched my arm. "Carter, say something." "I'm happy for you, Em. I really am, but concerning you working with Bass, not so much. He wants you. I don't know if he'll stop the next time. Right now, I'm thinking that he's probably waiting for the right opportunity to draw you in. I know men like him quite well because I was one. That phase with Bass is done, Carter. You have nothing to worry about. I'm with you now and we're doing so great, you're being so great, and you make me very happy. I can't help but love you a little more each day," she gushed, making me happy, knowing it was what I needed to hear. Turning on my side, I cupped her velvety skin before stroking her cheek. Without a word, I was atop her accommodating body, her legs spread, ankles behind my hips, locking me in as we slowly made love. It was heaven, and I wanted to live in it, no matter the cost. Christmas. Emma spent Christmas Day with Lindsay and my aunt and uncle in our home in Montecito. It was the first time Emma would meet them. They were pretty excited to meet my first girlfriend, I suppose. Gary was my father's brother who had taken us in when our parents died. They were a great couple, but after witnessing the deterioration of my parents, I opted not to let myself get attached to them. They were blood, but for me, the only family I had was Lindsay, Brody, and Emma. After lunch, I immediately excused us when Alice suggested going out to see a movie. Emma was eager to go, but I didn't give her the option to decide. The second Lindsay, Alice and Gary left for the movie theater, Emma was onto me, determined to get some answers. "Why did your aunt and uncle buy such a large house when there's only the four of you?" she wondered out loud. "They already bought the house before we moved in. They hoped to have their own children, but after a few years of trying, they gave up. They loved this house too much to let it go. They were happy to raise Lindsay and me after our parents died. I guess in the end, they got what they wanted. I wasn't bitter or anything. It was a way of life, fucked up as it was, but that's just how real it could be. You lose one and you gain one. Cause and effect." "That's a little weird to say, Carter. You make it sound like they're happy that your parents are dead, that they got an instant family through their deaths." Not wanting to discuss trivial family problems, I shrugged. "Whatever," I muttered, walking ahead as I took her upstairs, wanting to show her my old room. "Here's my bedroom," I murmured as I opened the dark oak door. It was themed in dark nautical colors against white walls. My trophies and achievements were lined up on top of a mirrored shelf. I watched as Emma strolled towards them, scrutinizing each award and recognition with avid curiosity. "What are you smiling about?" I came up behind her, nibbling her earlobe before I pulled her against my chest. "A little league, Carter Mason." My tongue was playing with her ear, intentions of the innocent kind of kissing was out the window, as I felt my dick twitch in excitement. Hastily lifting off her dress, pulling her stockings down, I didn't even pause in reaching inside her thong, seeking her already moist folds, ready to come out and play. "How about you think about the big league, Carter Mason, I erotically whispered against her ear, sending shivers across her frame. Reaching for my kiss, Emma devoured me, showing me how much she loved me, exposing herself to me. I started pulling us towards my large bed as we fervently kissed and at the same time hastily took our clothes off. I broke our kiss before pushing her down onto the bed, naked. Emma was a beautiful woman, but when aroused, she was magnificent to look at, and look I did. I gazed at her with terrifying hunger while I stood tall and derobed before her, letting her indulge in watching me stroke my shaft, getting me even harder as our eyes met. "I just want to picture you like this forever in my mind, on my bed, looking more beautiful than the first time I saw you." I moved silently towards her, eyes full of admiration and determination. "Stop," Emma commanded and pushed me down on the bed. "Now it's my turn to have a good memory of you on your bed." She gently stroked my torso, hands sliding down south, scratching before she got hold of the base of my shaft, tightening her hold of it before letting her succulent mouth slowly suction me off, blue eyes gazing upon me. She was enjoying what she was doing to me. Letting it go, she teased it, as her mouth hovered around the tip of the shaft. "Do you want a hard suction vacuum with a side of teabag action? Or a wet, sloppy, nasty deep throat with a side of tongue action?" Long lashes batted downward to view my aroused state, staring at me wide-eyed with pseudo-innocence. "Wicked Emma, how I love you like this, pleasing me and loving doing it at the same time. Thank you, God, for answering my prayers and granting me the perfect woman," I exclaimed with enthusiasm before reaching down and stroking my hard cock a few times before speaking. "Give me the nasty works, Emma." "Sure, but with one condition, do not ever touch my head and push it down, comprende?" She raised a brow at me. "I'm at your service, baby. See this?" I held out my hands before placing them underneath my head, and smiled. "I will never dare touch a strand of your beautiful blonde hair, my Emma." We began, slowly pleasing each other until we were both yelling and gasping for air. I could die a happy man, I thought as I pulled myself out of her wet depths, sated and merry. It was a Christmas to remember, all because of this woman beside me. "I love you, Emma, with everything that I am." I moved onto my side and gathered her limp body close to me. Kissing my sweaty chest, she murmured exhausted, "I love you too, Carter." We held onto each other until we fell asleep. For the very first time, I was happy during Christmas. Reality, Mason. 3 weeks later. "What's wrong? Why do you look all sad and depressed?" I worriedly asked, nudging and pinching her cheeks. I'm a few days late, Carter. Shit, man, I thought, tensing. You're pregnant? I asked in a tone that sounded like I was accusing her, but it was more of in disbelief. I'd been here before, several times in fact. Women used pregnancy to fuck the guy up. It was a weapon of mass destruction to all young men. She gave a nonchalant shrug. I don't know yet. I was hoping you could come with me to get a pregnancy kit at CVS or somewhere. Then we can head back here and do the test together. A baby, I was going to be a father. That sinking feeling of being trapped and suffocated dropped like a roaring wave all over me, submerging me deeper into a place that I wasn't prepared for, a place where I didn't want to be. Father. For years I had vowed not to become like him, and it seemed that I was on my way to doing just that. Unprepared pregnancies, I was the fruit of one. I'm not ready to be a father, Em. Hell, I'm not ready for any of that shit. What the fuck? I didn't ask for this. I started to panic, thoughts of a crying baby, and Emma blaming me for everything, yelling and more screaming. Suffocation, it certainly was choking the life out of me, inhaling me deeply, mutilating any reasonable comeback my brain came up with. Emma looked offended, like I slapped her with an accusation or an insult, maybe both. You think I want this? I have a future I was looking forward to, and now that could be taken away from me. We were doing so well, and we still could be. There was still hope. If there's a will, there's a way. And I sure as hell wasn't ready to become a father or live without Emma. There was only one way I wanted this to go. There was so much at risk here. For me, for Emma, and for our future together. Holding her face, I spoke sincerely to her. We could have it aborted. We can get rid of it. Emma flinched at my suggestion, seeming distraught. We're not even there yet. We have to see if I am before you start plotting the demise of your child. She got up and strolled towards where her purse was and grabbed it. Are you coming with me to go get the test or what? I searched her face for a few seconds, pleading with my eyes before giving her a curt nod. 20 minutes later, we were back at the dorms. I was jittery, more than ever. For some reason, going with Emma to get the pregnancy kit, being here with her to find out the truth, it all became so real to me. When a woman tells a guy that they're pregnant, we immediately think, we're fucked, but we never think about the agony of waiting to know the truth. Pulling the kit out of the plastic bag, I stared at it like it was the detonator that was going to blow up my life in a few minutes' time. Do you just pee on it? Just like that? Yes, that's what the instructions say, right? Emma snapped at me, annoyed, before she grabbed the box and darted towards the bathroom, slamming the door to make a point. I admit, I was being a jackass, but I couldn't help it. I was getting paranoid. Torn between the images of signing my life away and just comforting Emma, knowing that she needed me right now. The next 3 minutes were the worst few minutes I've ever had to date, and by God, I didn't want to go through this again. It was petrifying. Standing up, I started to pace, flicking a glance back to the bathroom after a few seconds, contemplating if I should be inside with her so we can look at the stick together. Could I possibly handle it if that damn thing turned out to be positive? I asked myself, knowing the answer. No, I simply couldn't. Huffing a few times before deciding to lean against the wall, I closed my eyes, urging myself to calm the hell down. I'm not pregnant. Fuck, I didn't hear the door open. Staring at Emma's form, she simply looked troubled, but my mind was registering what she said more. Not pregnant means no baby. Fuck. Thank you, God. I thundered with relief and evident joy, almost forming a smile at the news. What a fucking day this was. Phew. Hell, I needed a cold beer after that ordeal. Fuck, I needed to celebrate or something. Listen, Em, I have to go. I need to clear my head. I need to just drink a beer or two. I'll call you. Brody and Cooper needed to celebrate with me, maybe even Russo, I thought, as I went over to a silent Emma and planted a kiss on her forehead. Pulling my phone out, I walked out the door and called Brody. Yo bro. I need to booze up. Got stacks behind the bar. We celebratin' something I don't know about? Brody mused, wondering what prompted this call. The man knew me too well, knew that I just didn't call to get drunk randomly. Damn straight, we're celebrating. We needed to celebrate freedom, that's what. I'll tell you all about it later. Co-op at home? Brody grumbled something about them not talking, but yeah, he was home. Cool. I'm on my way back. Cutting off the call, I climb into my Cadillac homebound. When I got home, Brody was already waiting for me on the patio. He had a huge bucket full of ice and chilled beer halfway dipped in them. Sweet. Walking a few steps towards the hallway, I called out for Cooper. Co-op, come out, man. Yeah. I could hear him, a little muffled. Joining Brody out on the patio, I headed straight for the bucket, getting a bottled neck import. Gulping a couple of times before I finally let out a breath, I then spun around to face Brody, who was eyeing me skeptically. Why do I get the feeling that I'm not going to like this? Brody threw out, taking me aback. Emma had a false alarm. I was shaking my head when Cooper popped out from the sliding frame, early enough to catch the conversation. That shit was messed up, man. You don't understand. I thought I was about to be fucked. Thank God that wasn't the case. I just need a good drink with you idiots. Emma okay though? Cooper asked, thoughtful as he sat on the bench, watching me. Of course she was, why wouldn't she be? We almost threw our lives away. Yeah, she's cool. I just needed to get away from her for a few hours and breathe. All three beeping phones immediately got our attention. We were silent as we read Russo's forwarded message. Russo, 48-hour beach and pool party at Amanda's. Bring sexy, not ugly. You guys going? Cooper asked, somewhat addressing Brody, but not directly. It was weird seeing these two fight because of a woman. Granted, the woman in question was my sister, but still, it was disheartening. Co-op was a good friend to both of us. No idea, I responded before glancing at Brody. What about you? I have a family dinner I can't get out of. You guys go ahead though. Maybe I'll catch up with you later on, Brody said, glancing from me to Cooper. Good thing they were at least trying. Guess we could check it out, Co-op. We'll leave in an hour? I need to shower and get ready. An hour later, Brody left to drive back to his family's estate in Montecito. Cooper went back into his room to get ready himself, so I was out here, still wondering if I should party at Amanda's house, knowing that woman was after me, or if I should just head straight to see Emma and spend the night there. I was torn because I wanted to see Emma and hang out with her, but at the same time, ever since we got back together, we were always, and I mean always, together. Maybe just this once, I could head out to party amongst friends. I'm sure Emma would understand, right? Army of boobs. 6 hours later, at 4 in the morning, the party was in full swing. As expected, Cece was following me like a puppy when she realized that Emma wasn't with me. I was buzzing good, and for once, it felt amazing to just get drunk and have no care in the world. What happened earlier with the false alarm fucked me really good, mentally and emotionally. It brought back the ugliness of my childhood and the things that I vowed not to do. By noon, the house was still packed. People were still lazing around the beach drunk, some naked, some passed out, while others were eating and drinking the day away. When Amanda and Cece joined forces to annoy me, I was contemplating leaving the party, but Russo and some other guys were yelling that I was pussy whipped. So to prove a point, I stuck it out. I was on the hammock, enjoying the breeze with my shades on and eyes closed when Cooper popped out of nowhere, checking up on me. Thought you were down and out, passed out with some sand in your mouth or something. He grinned at me, red from the alcohol, not the sun. I'm drunk, that's why I don't want to move, because that might just be the end of me. Hey, Cece and Amanda are talking about you, just letting you know. Don't do anything stupid, okay, bro? Okay, I knew he meant well, but that just rubbed me the wrong way. Shut the fuck up, co-op. I'm not going to. What the hell? He barely gave me a shrug before his eyes wandered somewhere else. Good. I'll be back in a few hours. I think the girl that I saw earlier just reappeared again. Cooper rushed out, leaving to seek out the woman he'd apparently been eyeing. Needing to pee, I got up and finished my bottle before striding towards the palm trees at the farther end, away from peeping folks. I released a sigh of satisfaction. I spun around, about to zip my pants up, when Amanda and Cece came out of nowhere. I stared in shock as Amanda got on her knees and pulled my cock out of my boxer slit, before sucking it hungrily. Cece was behind me, cupping my ass while she licked and nipped around my neck. Stop! I screeched, commanding them to halt their antics, but they weren't paying attention to me. To my disgusted horror, I was getting so turned on while I watched Amanda gobble on my dick like it was her last meal. Please stop, I pleaded, somewhat moaning. We have a few surprises in the boathouse, baby. How does 3 more willing girls sound? Cece rasped out in my ear, licking while her hand toyed and scratched my torso, making me hiss deliriously. 5 girls for you to play with, fuck with, Carter. This will be our little secret, no one will know. She then directed towards Amanda, who was attached to my cock, never letting up. Is he ready for us? Amanda bobbed her head, sending more delicious currents all over me. 5 girls and no one would know? Fuck, should I? God, I was so tempted, but Emma. I couldn't. This has to stop, I thought with new determination, but that was before Cece got on her knees too and started to suck on my balls. Both girls were sucking, saliva dripping on the sand, milking my cock like it was their king, their reason. I was losing my strength, my battle of resistance, because my orgasm was a suck away, and having 2 girls was just fucking insane. It didn't surprise me that I was ready to pass out after I came. When I was led to the boathouse like I was under a spell though, seeing the 3 naked girls waiting on me, I knew I really was fucked. The orgy went on for hours. I simply lost track of the time. We would sleep, wake up and get drunk, fuck, then sleep again. I should have seen it coming, but I was so messed up that my brain wasn't even functioning well. When Emma appeared out of nowhere, I swear, I saw my life flash before my eyes. Motherfucker, she screamed like a banshee, halting our movements. My heart broke when I saw the tears falling off her beautiful face. Right then it dawned on me how disgusting this was, how disgusting I was. Emma, baby. I started, wanting to explain, but what did I have to say? That it was too hard to resist. There simply wasn't an excusable reason I could come up with to rationalize this without losing Emma. Fuck you. Now you won't be fucking anyone tonight. We are through, she bellowed at me before stomping on my dick full force. I wanted to vomit. Holy fuck, this was beyond painful. What the fuck, Emma? I yelled before I curled up, cupping my balls. I wasn't sure what happened next because I was so caught up with my own injury to listen to Emma spitting fire at the rest of the women. Stupid mistake that was, and hours later I was at home mourning the loss of my love. She wouldn't pick up my calls. There was no doubt in my mind, Emma was not going to be forgiving about the incident she witnessed, and I was a messed up person. With Emma, I knew fear. And tonight, I was locked into a nightmare. Albeit, a nightmare of my choosing. My girl, Emma. For a few months, I chased after her, begging for forgiveness, but she was completely shut off. Grudgingly, I gave her space, knowing that she needed it. Time I was going to give her a breather, but not enough to completely forget me. Those who knew me well should have known that I wasn't going anywhere. Once my mind was set, it was programmed for life. In some ways, this entire suffering only brought to light how much I really loved Emma. I agreed with what most of the people said, that I didn't deserve her, but they didn't know me. They didn't know what was in me, what I was feeling then, yesterday and today. Admittedly, I made a huge monstrous mistake, and I have been suffering for it ever since. She wasn't going to forgive me. It wouldn't even surprise me if she chose to be with Bass, thinking she made the right choice because of this mistake, a big fucking mistake. So here I was, back in my old bedroom in Montecito, staring at the one thing that would prove my love and my loyalty. Yes, I wasn't going to sleep with another woman until Emma was ready. Extreme? Maybe. But I deserved this punishment, and I was willing to pay my dues. As my grandmother used to tell me as a kid, you have one life to live. Never give up because you only get this one chance. So live it, learn it, own it, and accept it. Conquer it. I'm never giving up, Emma. Might as well kill me because you'll always be my girl, whether you want to be or not. So it begins. Scornfully Yours, Emma. Scornfully Hers, Carter. Frayed, Trista. Blasphemous, Emma. Undeniably Yours, Space. Scorned, Lindsay. Fixated on You, Emma. Christmas with You. Unveiled, Lindsay. Crushed, Amber. Undeniably Us, Space. https://www.pamelaannbooks.com/torn.html. Pamela's website for free ebook lists. Download 5-chapter samples of standalone novels, giveaways, upcoming releases, pre-orders, news and ARC sign up. Subscribe here, sign me up. Website. I Love Angst, Facebook group. Facebook like page. Twitter. Instagram. BookBub. Bartered, The Encounter Trilogy. Read Book 1 for free. Hugo Xavier, a French playboy hell-bent on possessing Isabelle, a gorgeous Greek pauper. Set in Monaco, this is a story about a man who had it all, but his past ensures he couldn't acquire what he yearned the most. And a woman whose heart wasn't up for bargaining, no matter the cost. A tug-of-war of seduction, of wills, of pride. A whirlwind affair that will change both of their lives forever. Get links here. Unapologetic, read Book 1 for free. Love. Chaos. Pure. Utter. Madness. A story about two orphans who made a pact. Star-crossed lovers both meant to shine. Add a hefty dose of jealousy and betrayal, it's the ultimate recipe for disaster. Revenge, could it really be the sweetest of sins? Get links here. The Torn Series, read Book 1 for free. Set in a quaint college town of Santa Barbara, California, meet the vivacious four, Emma, Lindsay, Trista, and Amber. Four best friends who fell in love with irresistible bad boys who pushes their buttons, challenges them to a point of madness, and loves like no other. Get links here. The Chasing Series, read Book 1 for free. An orphan at the age of 7, there was one thing that Sienna Richards didn't do easily: give her heart. When Sienna left for London to study, she was taken aback when Kyle cheated. Hurt and betrayed, Sienna decided to fly back to LA to confront him. Deflated and aggrieved, Sienna was surprised when her very good friend, the magnetic and aristocratic Blake Knightley, seemed to be determined to have her. Blake was relentless but will not settle until he gets all of Sienna. Get links here. Pieces of You and Me, read Book 1 for free. This book is about first love and heartbreak. A great push-and-pull dynamic between Grayson and Olivia, sworn enemies, but somehow ended up tolerating each other since their parents began dating. Get links here. The Guardian, a standalone novel. A story about a man fighting off palpable connection between the woman he's fated to be with. A journey about loss, friendship, and above all, falling madly in love. An heiress and a man set to take over her father's company. Arranged marriage. Two stubborn and equally vindictive characters. Stifling sexual tension. A push and pull, maddening, combustible chemistry. A war of words of love, bringing them to the brink of insanity. Get links here.